Select Board, 6:30, October 21st, 2024. Welcome, everybody. Remind you all that this is being digitally recorded, so please be respectful of each other, both when you're speaking and when you're not. With that in mind, anyone here for open session? Open session?
Excuse me, I don't know what that means, so I have
For something other than what's on the agenda.
I may have something that's not on the agenda, if it's not relevant to the town meeting. It has to do with an item, an article that was on the annual.
Could you speak up, please? I'm sorry.
Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road. It has to do with an item that was on the warrant for the 2024 town meeting.
Well, we'll be dealing with that.
So Mrs. Deneen, hi, I meant to call you back.
Yes.
But today was crazy.
It's okay.
So we're working on the battery energy storage systems bylaw, and you're actually incredibly fortunate, because one of the people that is going to be working on it mainly is sitting directly behind you.
Okay.
So you will be able to talk with
Okay.
Tim about it, and
Hi.
then,
Okay.
so Tim and Mark Kresge and the planning board and our planner, our part-time planner Alec Wade, are working on what this would look like moving forward again. It is not being proposed for the special town meeting.
That was my question.
But it's not dead in the water. Like,
Okay.
there are plans to
Activities.
bring it back up to ensure that there are regulations behind the
Okay.
implementation and building of battery energy storage systems.
Great.
But Tim, and if you know Mark,
Yeah.
he's working on it as well.
My concern was delaying until next year's annual meeting, that with the pressure that's going on in western Massachusetts, and I'm sure in central, and the fact that the state, you basically can't say no, the fact, as was raised at the annual town meeting, the fact that we don't have any bylaws in place right now makes us very vulnerable, I believe.
From a administrative standpoint, it's kind of frustrating because we warned you guys of that.
Well, that's why I'm
Like,
bringing it up.
yeah.
I wondered if it was timely, and possible to have it on the special town meeting, warrant for November or not.
I'm not comfortable saying that
Okay.
here right now,
Yeah.
but I will 100%, if the select board were to allow, look into what that would look like, because
Yeah.
after this evening, there's going to be 2 full weeks until such time as we have the public hearing
Okay.
on the articles and the select board signs and
Okay,
officially creates the warrant.
okay, thank you for your consideration,
we'll
I
have
appreciate
to-
it. Yep, well, that's why I'm here, so that was, thank you.
You can by all means stay, but if you
Yeah,
wish
I'm
to
gonna
leave,
stay
they
for a
were
little
not.
while. Thank
There's
you.
some
Thanks.
chairs here.
Almost.
We can pull them over for you, okay?
Oh, good, thank you so much.
Too bad Suzette already have it.
So you're all set then?
That was why,
right,
yes,
thank you.
I'm glad that you let me bring it up, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, then we'll move on to our announcements, communications, et cetera, if you will.
Oh, yes. So, this past week, we've had a few items that have come up. We did manage to do non-such night, even though the wind was blowing. We couldn't set up Mr. Shea's lovely, which I was dying to see, his 25-foot inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because we were afraid it was gonna be 3 states over. Airborne, because it was so windy that day. But luckily, the winds did die down, and we were able to inflate the movie screen and show the movie. So it started out very windy, but it ended up very nice. And we had a bunch of families actually managed to stay through the whole entire thing. They didn't get frozen. So unlike other years, as usually they kind of freeze out. So anyway, Non-Such Night was great. We also had the Taste of Hubbardston, which was a lot of businesses came out and a lot of residents came out to check that out. I was there for a brief time and I saw lots of faces, so I thank everyone for coming and I thank everyone for participating in the Taste of Hubbardston. Whitney and Cindy and all the people the kids that helped, and I think Peter, you helped a little bit there in the beginning, yeah. There was a few
In the
people.
end.
In the
Next
end,
day,
yeah, I
yeah.
know. I wasn't much help this year, but whatever, it is what it is.
You're a busy person.
Yeah, so, I made an appearance at least,
That's
so.
what I heard.
Yeah, so, but I saw that it was very well attended, and there was a lot of smiling faces, and there was lots of yummy food, and there was lots of businesses there, so thank you all for coming. And then, if you missed it this past weekend, the seniors did have their patio opening meal
Pumpkin
extravaganza, yes, the Pumpkin Fest. It was very nice. Claudia and the seniors did a very good job out there.
I
Yeah.
was working, I
Where
wanted to
did
be
you?
here, but.
I popped in and then I got stuck buying a couple pies, which are very good, by the way. We're eating them, like I'm gonna go home and have some pie tonight. But, yeah, it was beautiful. They set up the patio so nicely and inside, and there was lots of people there. They had music going and everything. It was very lovely. And they did a very good job on that. So, upcoming events. The seniors are going to have a candidates night, on the 23rd at 6:30, and that's right over here at the senior center. October 25th, from 6 to 8 is the trunk or treat. The Hubbardston PTO is putting that on. It's $5 a bag, and they are still looking for people to volunteer to do the trunks. If you're interested in doing a trunk, you can email at hubpto@gmail.com, and they will hook you up with a spot. There's prizes for best trunk and all kinds of good stuff that they got going on. And again, that's the 25th. October 27th is the Halloween parade. It starts at 12:30 at Station 1. Flo puts this on every year. She does such a good job. The kids start at Station 1 dressed up. They ask for a bag of candy to be donated per family. And that goes back to the party and then to Main Street. The kids parade down in their little costumes. They're all adorable. And then they come over to the school where they have a little party there with some cupcakes and things like that. And then Eddie Raymond does a magic show for them every year, and it's super fun. The kids all love it. If you have littles, come dress them up and have them march down. If you don't have littles, come watch them, wave to them. They love to see people waving on the side of the road. It's a good, fun, little kid event. And again, that's Sunday the 27th at 12:30. Trick or treat is October 31st. It always is every year. It doesn't change. We don't do it on Sunday. We don't do it on Saturday. We do it on the 31st. From 5 to 8. The block party starts at 4. The block party goes till 8, but it's at the parking lot that's usually put on. Bill Shea sponsors that, and he is doing dinosaur. I want to say he's doing the T-Rex, because I'm pretty sure he told me the T-Rex is coming down. So I'm going with Sue, the T-Rex is coming down, and he usually has all kinds of fun stuff there. Yeah, he named it. It's Sue, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sue
Okay.
in the movie, so.
Yeah, Sue.
Yeah.
So Sue the T-Rex. But yeah, there's your music playing, and the kids can dig through the hay with the candy, and there's hot dogs and things like that. It's good fun. So anyway, come on down, trick or treating. Adults come too. I usually show up in some obnoxious costume somewhere. All right, so taxes are due. Nobody wants to hear this part. November 4th, just fair warning. There's a presidential election, just in case you haven't heard. November 5th. Voting is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Hubbardston Center School Gym. November 9th, we have Harvest Breakfast, 8 to 11 at the Rod and Gun. It's put on by the Hubbardston Scholarship Committee. November 27th is the deadline to enter for the light fight. Just putting it out there now. December 1st, we're gonna be doing the tree lighting ceremony on the Common. So I had to get all the deer out and get them all prepped. And then coming up also, just to put it out there, is December 14th from 10 to noon. I'm doing brunch with Santa at Hubbardston Center School. So Mr. Sweeney, Santa, will be there with his bells on and all of our elves and all kinds of good stuff. Go.
Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road. Quick clarification on the candidates night. You said October 27th?
I was about to mention that.
Thursday.
October
23rd.
23rd.
2 days,
Isn't
and
it
I'm gonna do my
Wednesday
best to
this
get a
week?
blast out
Okay.
tomorrow.
23rd.
Yeah.
And
this
where
week.
is it?
Senior Center.
Oh, yeah,
Senior
it is this
Center
week.
at
Yeah, it is this
what
week.
time
Yeah,
did
it's
you
in
say?
2 days.
Where's the
6:30.
time going?
6:30, thank you.
Yep. Yep, you can, when in doubt, if you don't get the blast, you can call Claudia directly. She has all the information
So
on
it's
that.
Thursday night.
23rd. Whatever the 23rd
Wednesday
is.
night.
Did you mention,
Wednesday.
having
Oh,
the
Wednesday,
mention the
perfect.
volunteer appreciation night?
Not yet. No, we haven't got that because we haven't ironed it out. I haven't got all the
Okay,
details
okay,
on that.
special town meeting, the 19th.
Oh, that's on there. Where did I put it? I wrote it somewhere. Yeah, we have special town meeting. Just in case you haven't heard about that either. It's on the 19th, 7 p.m. And Trish is gonna say about the library stuff because I can't keep track of all that stuff. I got enough in my head. She's in charge of library.
Okay, so.
Tricia, go ahead.
All right, for the library, upcoming events, Wednesday night, we have Ookie Spooky Bedtime Story time, at 6 p.m. in the library. The kids can come dressed in their jammies. We'll have fun crafts activities, Halloween themed story, and then so graciously a local farm has donated 30 sugar pumpkins for the kids to decorate. All ages are welcome, no registration is necessary. And then Saturday on the 26th, we have Saturday story time for our families who can't join us on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. That Saturday story time is also at 10 a.m. And then on the 29th of October, the Not Just Knitting group will be meeting in the library from 4:30 to 6:30. And that's it for library. And then, as always for town meeting, I will be doing childcare in the library.
They won't,
What?
they won't,
Why?
'cause you're not gonna be here.
That I will be here. No, I will be here the 19th.
Okay.
I will be here the 19th.
Parent,
Okay,
please tell her you're not, so.
She submitted a request.
I'm
No,
just
that
saying.
was to the 18th. I'll be here the 19th. So for November 19th, as always, I will be doing childcare in the library for families so that they can attend special town meeting.
thank you. Any other announcements or reports to be made at this time from anyone? Okay, thank you. Move on to item 4, right of first refusal request. We've been asked to not act on this. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, not active is the thing we, is anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Go ahead.
The Sahagan family has submitted through their Brecca and Brecca the right of first refusal to not act on it for 2 parcels on Ragged Hill. The parcel numbers are 522 and 523.1, respectively, to be withdrawn from Chapter 61 to be used for a single family home.
And we have spoken to Mr. Hatch, the chair of the Open Space Committee, and Tim Hawley, who is a member of the Open Space Committee, and I believe Mike is a member of the Open Space Committee. They have all indicated that this is not on their priority list and move forward.
So there's nothing else we need to do on this, right?
Can I ask questions, please?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair. Question, so we're giving up our right to refusal, and it's in Chapter 61 that's going back to normal land for residential use. Is there tax arrears from how long it's been in 61 have to be made up?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, that's the answer I was looking for.
Okay, Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Just wondering what the date of that request was.
It's dated 9/28.
Thank you very much.
And do we know how long it's been in 61A? I didn't see the date on that.
I can get you that data.
No, but it looks like they're taking 1.83 acres out for purposes of the house.
That's one.
120,
Peter,
it's 2
you asking-
lots.
Are you asking in regards to
There's
them
2 lots.
figuring the taxes?
Well, yeah, because whenever you come out of a 61A property, you gotta pay the normal residential rate
Mhm.
for that land that you had in protected rate,
Mhm.
right?
Not for
So-
the whole time though. I think it's only like 5
Don't-
years.
Is it 5 or 8
Yeah.
years?
5. Yeah, it's the last
years?
5
So
years.
it's the last 5 years?
Mhm.
Alright,
Yep.
alright, I didn't know that.
Not the whole entire, but yeah,
I
last
didn't
5
know
years.
that.
Yeah.
And there's a process on the treasurer collector's side to ensure that we get that.
Yeah, no, okay, cause that's usually why we put a lien on the properties, correct?
So we're okay on that then?
Thank you.
All set?
We do
I'm
need
good.
a motion not to,
I have
not
a
to act
question.
on.
What's the size of each lot?
2.7 altogether,
No, it's bigger than that, I think it's closer to 5, isn't it?
containing 1.83 acres and 2.7 acres respectively, so, yeah.
Okay,
So there's only one buildable lot then?
So I don't know if this helps, this is the email that we got from Marina, right, from ROG. Town conveyed to Foy and Bub is 8.5, the lot conveyed, sorry, 8.52 acres.
waive.
Subtract the house lot of 1.83 acres and you have 6.69 acres left.
who did? Tim? Yes.
One lot or two
Oh,
lots?
I'm sorry.
Tim Hawley, 35 Mount.
I'm sorry, you're not done, go ahead.
Sorry.
I think Tim can actually answer the
All right,
question.
Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there are, the property as it exists today is about 12 acres, just in round numbers. And what they are apparently asking to do is to remove from chapter 61A roughly 2 acres or 1.8 acres
Did you say it was
on
1.3? Yeah.
Ragged Hill Road and 2.3 acres on
New Templeton.
New Templeton Road, thank you.
So if you look at the map.
Each one of those parcels has about 200 feet of frontage on town road. So I think it looks like, at least on the surface, that there would be 2 buildable lots there.
Suitable,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought we had to have a 2 acre minimum.
It's 80,000.
80,000.
It's 83,000 square feet.
Okay, so 1.8
It's-
through
yeah.
88 or whatever it is makes,
They were made
Okay.
large enough to meet that requirement.
thank you very much.
Could we have a motion?
Yeah, I move to waive the town of Hubbardston's right of first refusal for the chapter 61A withdrawal request for the parcels on Ragged Hill Road and New Templeton Road as presented.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Item 5, Administrative Service Coordinator position proposal. I'll turn this over to you, you can introduce.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair.
Chair. Within your packet, there is the proposal for the creation of what I am tentatively and proposal-wise calling the Administrative Services Coordinator position. What this position does is it would take the part-time land use position and the part-time assessor's clerk position and smush them together, creating a singular position, adding additional hours from Mel Green's office, the office of the town clerk. This works because they share an office, and in the proposal, we'll share an office in the new space as well. I do, if this move forward, have a candidate to introduce to you this evening. She started today in the role of assessor's clerk. Her name is Leanne Moses, and she's right there. I am happy to present this to you because I believe it will increase constituent services, which has been a issue in both the land use side and the assessing side. It will aid in kind of slowing down turnover in the position because a 34-hour-a-week position is much more attractive to many candidates, including Mrs. Moses, than a 10-hour position or 2 10-hour positions, and it will allow another familiar face to be here and actually be the face of the operations and be here at a regular schedule. Additionally, it will help Mel, allowing her to do additional kind of progressive projects over the next few years as Leanne gets trained, and it's just overall going to be a very positive action. There is no budgetary, it's net neutral funding wise in the FY26 budget, and there will likely be a small increase for the extra hours in the office of the town clerk for FY26. With that, I will either accept questions or Melody can speak to her support of this as well.
Melody?
Well, town clerking aside, the assessing department specifically that I share the office with definitely has had a notable lack of constituent face-to-face time, which I've heard from the residents. Being the only full-time person over there, that's the number one complaint over there, is there's never anybody in the assessing department. And then with Tricia moving over to the executive assistant role, the land use department, to me, it makes sense to be combined into one, as Nate mentioned. We already did hire a land use clerk who quit after 2 weeks because the hours and it just wasn't what she wanted to do. So someone who's willing to take on the closer to full-time hours and combine the three departments is beneficial. Eventually, it would be nice to have the additional time, just speaking personally, having to do all the vote by mail things really gets in the way of doing anything else besides that. That's literally all I did today is early voting and vote by mail. I didn't get a single thing done except one marriage intention. So just, it would be helpful to have someone in the office more, and that's not even talking about my, like, the help in my department. So I'm in full support of Nate's proposal to have the additional hours and combine both roles.
Thank you.
And within your packet, Select Board, I did put a prioritization schedule month by month of annual events and different items and where they would fall, moving the position around. For most of the year, it's an assessor priority, then it switches over to being a town clerk priority, because in the Office of Zoning, Conservation, and Planning, it's really, you catch what you catch, and sometimes it's determined by what permits and applications are put in. I do believe that having a full-time person there, in addition to Alex's part-time role, will make us incredibly well-suited to handle whatever comes in. And there is within your packet, a summarized training plan, which I will turn into a full training plan, and a example of a very similar position from the town of Air.
Thank you. The board have any questions or comments on this?
Just wondering, so earlier you just mentioned it was a neutral FY '26, you mean neutral FY '25?
FY '25, yep.
Okay, and when you said increase, it'll be for FY '26?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you just pull up the schedule real quick, just for the month to month that you're talking about? I'm getting KP's issue he was getting where it says couldn't preview file, so I run out after recommended minimum qualifications of the job
I don't
description.
even have it in my packet, so.
Right there.
Oh, thank you very much.
I don't think.
Alright, and you feel comfortable that the 34 hours a week is gonna be sufficient to handle the needs of both of those offices?
We don't offer any more hours. I think that's all that matters.
They were closed on
Right.
Friday.
That's it.
Closed on Friday.
Okay,
Gets
but
done,
regardless,
gets
combining
done.
the
But I
two
do
positions.
believe that this is a suitable amount of work. I have spoken with Leanne about it. We had her come down for pizza on Thursday to talk about this, and she was here today. And it's been great in the very short period of time that she's been around, and I'm excited to have her on the team.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
It's gonna be huge, cause we had, as we witnessed today, another assessor's issue today, and to have somebody around every day, basically, to, handle the small things, like, money coming back to people that aren't seeing their money coming back, you know what I mean, it's a big thing.
In addition, outside of the constituent services, I'm looking to have staff members and boards work with Leanne over a longer period of time, because I'd rather have her trained appropriately to be able to stay for some time. She's going to be a Hubbardston person, so she's moving here. I didn't want to say that on record. So I'm excited to have her on board. I think if we take the time to train her appropriately and make sure that each position is given in due time the priority that it deserves, over time we will have an excellent employee doing an excellent job for the people of this town.
Sounds good.
And it'll be a great commute.
Anybody else have anything else to say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you've got the financials here for fiscal year '25. What's gonna happen, how are we gonna come up with these funds for fiscal year '26 and going forward?
That's gonna be part of Mel's budget moving forward.
Okay.
Because the reason that is fair is because this year, the town clerk's office is getting a lot on it, because the money is coming directly from land use and assessing. So the way it will be proposed will make sense.
And we've got that in the budget?
We should.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else from the board or anyone else?
It's hard at this time of year because in a perfect world, a certain variable doesn't go up as high as we think it's going to go up, so.
I understand. But you're planning board.
Yes.
Would you identify yourself again?
Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road. I'm sorry to, just for a point of clarification, do I understand correctly that the two positions that will be combined are land use and assessing?
Yes, ma'am.
But there's a third position?
Town assistant town clerk.
Okay, thank you, that's.
And they're all in the same,
I understand.
like, physical space,
Okay.
so.
It would seem like assessing and land use would be naturally
Yes, they're
aligned
naturally
also.
aligned,
Right.
and assisting with the town clerk items will fit in better than it seems.
Sounds-
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Anything else from anyone?
Thank
If
you.
not, the chair would appreciate a motion to approve the creation of a 34-hour administrative service coordinator position effective immediately as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions, discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, may I introduce you to Leanne Moses,
well,
my candidate for?
that's the next thing, yep. Okay, we'd like to welcome you, Leanne.
Thank you.
And so the final motion here would be to appoint Leanne Moses to the position of Administrative Services Coordinator effective immediately.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carried. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy both of them.
Do you have a
Thank
speech, do you have a
You
speech
did
prepared?
wonderful.
I don't have a
We've got
speech.
time.
I'm actually have to see myself. Nice to meet you all. Thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Welcome to town.
Thank you.
Okay, we're taking this out of order for those of you who are looking at your agenda. So we moved up the boot drive safety policy because we have representatives of the Lions here. So who, Kelly, are you the spokesperson for this, or
I guess so.
you wanna come up and join us, or do you wanna do it from there?
Sure, I mean, it's just reviewing the policy.
Kelly, would you like me to preempt that
Yeah,
discussion?
that's fine, yep.
Mr. Chair, about 3 weeks ago, Kellyanne reached out looking to do a boot drive, as have been done in the past. Both Chief Kuchar and I pointed to the policy on the books that states the town has a prohibition since, I believe, 2012 against boot drives and those type of fundraising activities. Both Chief Kuchar, who could not be here tonight because he is at a police chiefs conference, and myself believe that a prohibition of those type of activities doesn't really make sense, but a case-by-case situation would make more sense. So the proposal asks for all of the contact information, liability insurance naming the town, and a safety plan approved by the police chief or their designee. Chief Kuchar has texted me, he is in support of this as long as he does have to approve the safety plan.
And to be clear, if I may, we're just voting on the policy at this point.
Yes, we're just
correct?
voting on the policy
general
at this point.
policy.
Yep, there is no application before us by the terms of the policy.
Essentially, you're moving to rescind the
Yes,
prohibitive policy.
what I asked the board to do in my recommendations is, if they saw fit, was to rescind the prohibition policy and accept the boot drive safety policy as presented or as amended, as you see fit.
So, some towns that have the boot drive, especially like larger cities and so forth, they explicitly state, like in their policy, where the location's going to be. So it's not, a matter of, I want it here, I want it there. It's, if someone's interested and they want to apply, this is where it's gonna be, as well as this is the restriction on the hours. So it's clear and applies to everybody, and then as long as it checks those two boxes, it's a lot easier to make sure it's fair for everybody, so it's not, it doesn't seem like someone says yes to this group or no to the other, based on, just someone understands the town's layout better than the other, right? Does have you had conversations with Chief Kuchar about where the location would be, or
So I
is there
have
an
no
idea?
problem amending it to add that, but my understanding is that the safety protocol would discuss where and when and how this would be held. But as I just stated, I have no problem adding it if it's the will of the board.
So I would be in support of it, provided that you and Chief Kuchar had added into the policy, a designated location of where you've determined in advance it would be, as well as what those maximum hours would be.
Can't imagine they're gonna be requesting Mount Jeff. So I'm
No,
thinking it'll
no,
be.
no, let me put it to you this way. Somebody asks to do Main Street and it gets approved. Somebody asks to do in front of Rieta and it gets denied. And then they come up and say, well, why'd you deny me in front of Rieta? When they got to do it in front of Main Street.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm not, usually I would figure it in front of Main, but I could see somebody wanting to do it in front of Rieta on a good Sunday, you know?
But if the chief and you just figure out ahead of time, designate the location, designate the maximum hours, and then it's even easier, so when it's a safety plan, it's just, you know, how they're gonna deal with visibility and everything else, and they're not picking and choosing locations. We've already predetermined, you know, you wanna do a boot drive, fantastic, here's the location from point A to point B that you're eligible to do it. Here's what our parameters are, including the maximum, period of hours and so forth.
If you vote it as amended, I will add that, and I would ask that we don't hold this up, but I will send to the board for review.
Can we ask for the Lions? Have any comments or
Yeah, did you want me to come up or just?
whatever easier for
Yeah,
the
so
town?
historically, we've actually just had it right along.
Excuse me, Kellyanne,
I'm sorry.
identify yourself.
Identify yourself.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Kellyanne Icaboni, 49 Morgan Road,
Thank
Hubbardston
you,
Lions Club.
sorry.
So historically, we've had it along Main Street. I mean, it's not a huge distance, and I'm assuming that that's where we would wanna do it again. We generally try to do it on a Sunday when there is Rieta traffic, because that seems to work well for us as far as, you know, the amount of traffic that comes through, and then also, of course, the weather. We do have cones and sandwich boards, and I don't believe we have more than maybe 2 or 3 people. We work different shifts, so we usually have a couple people at one end and a couple people at the other end.
We have the booths too that we set up.
Yeah,
Booths anymore?
yeah, I don't know, I guess we had booths, I didn't know
Yeah.
about that, but,
They're in the middle of the.
yeah. So, I don't believe that we would be asking for anywhere other than Main Street, and that to me is the most logical place to have it. You know, I mean, obviously Rieta would be ideal, but you can't, it's just
But that's what
so much traffic.
Just as Heather's
Yeah,
point,
yep,
somebody
yeah.
comes and asks, and
Yeah.
then we get accused of
Yep.
saying, well, you do the Lions,
Yeah,
but
no,
not us.
I
that's
assumed it would
favoritism, you know?
only be a designated
Yeah.
area,
Well,
which
there's
would be
a,
along Main
there's a
Street.
big difference between Main Street right out here and the street in front of Rieta Ranch too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that would be at the discretion of.
I imagine it would really only be here, close to the GFA or close to Curtis Rec Fields, like that would make
Yeah.
any sort of sense.
I
Well,
get that, but.
And it's okay, even if it's you and the chief saying one location, we see how it goes for the next year, and then we can always expand, but I like it because it takes out the discretion, right? Like, it makes it so that we're objective whenever we get an application, and to Katie's point, someone's not perceiving it different than what it is.
Absolutely.
So-
No, that's fine.
Mr. Chairman, would you accept a motion?
Yes,
I have one more
okay,
question.
go ahead, Peter.
So when I think of a boot drive, I think of the fire department and is it muscular dystrophy? Do they, I mean, it says here you got $1 million liabilities, is that, the town has their own?
The town has, more than that.
Alright, so, and I would think if they were gonna do one, they wanna do it in front of the fire station, am I correct, maybe thinking in that?
But that would still be Main
Depends
Street.
what we're raising money
So,
for.
Main Street.
If the chief
Okay.
came up with that's
yeah,
the
okay.
designated, he might have another spot that could be,
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, I was just curious, that's why I've never seen one here, that's which,
That's cause they're prohibited.
I agreed, I just realized that, so, that's all I have.
Okay,
Before
someone
I
else
choke to
had,
death
yes?
here.
Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road. I just have a question. Do we know why this policy was prohibited back in 2012? What drove
I'm trying
the
to
town?
remember, cause 12 years ago, that was my first year on the board. Matter of fact, I was gonna make an attempt to call Matt Castriato, but I couldn't get him today, because I honestly don't remember, although I think it has something to do with the traffic. And if you have one group doing it, then another group would want to. That's about my memory going back 12 years for that.
I'm just saying, in order for it to have become policy, there was some prompt.
Someone used the wrong boot.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
right,
my.
the one color booth.
So sometimes,
Smell bad.
Yeah, it smelled
sometimes there's
bad.
resistance to it, right? Because usually if you think of a city, you see it in slower areas, right? By traffic lights, you see it where people are going like 20
Right,
miles an
right,
hour.
sure.
60's pretty fast in a lot of the areas, so that's why it would have to be more central downtown where it's a little bit slower on the traffic.
I'm just saying, we had a policy, someone made the policy, there was something that prompted the policy, is there something we're not thinking about in reversing the policy? I mean, I'm not against it on principle at all,
I think
but it was a radical move to create a policy to prohibit
Yeah.
this.
Tom? Would you identify
My
yourself?
memory, Tom Robinson, 5 Brigham Street. My memory serves me correctly, it was traffic congestion that was the issue. And I just want to remind everyone that Main Street has changed. It's significantly narrower than it was in years past.
Good point. And yet the option is for on a Sunday, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Probably of the 7 days, that with the least amount of traffic.
Right, yeah,
Because during the week, not only the traffic, but the trucks themselves.
right,
So it's how much you wanna back up traffic.
yeah.
Now, would it be both lanes or just one particular lane? It would be
Yeah,
Usually
from what I
stay in the middle,
recall, we just sort of set up sort of on the striping and then,
Mhm, yeah,
you
okay.
know, we would,
Yeah.
you know, stop people, they would stop both ways, but we have 2 different posts.
Okay. Sure.
So-
Anyone else, I'm sorry, anyone else have anything on that? Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we rescind the prior approximately 2012 boot drive safety prohibition policy and replace it with the boot drive safety policy proposed this evening with the amendments that will be worked on by the town administrator and the police chief to include restrictions of the very specific locations of where this would be allowed, as well as specific days and range of times.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any,
Can I write all that down?
Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Next up is item 6, authorization to enter contract for the Library Foundation project with Connie. Would you like to come up and speak on this?
the board. And Tom Robinson is here as well too, he can also address some issues. So we put in a proposal, or we put in a request to have our library foundation repaired. The northeast corner primarily is where, if you look at it, you'll notice that there's exposed brick, no mortar. We have funds to do this. We received money from CPA back in like 2019 and then 2020, and we have money out of free cash as well. The quote we received was for $19,000 from Murray Masonry. So we would like you to consider and approve us so we can kind of move forward with repairing the library foundation.
The procurement was done competitively. Mr. Murray of Murray Masonry was the only company that attended the second phase 1 site visit and the only company that submitted in.
And what was the amount again that he?
$19,000.
19?
Yes.
And that was inclusive of the prevailing wage?
Yep. And Mr. Murray is one of 3 or 4 masonry companies that the historical commissions send out as suggestions that do this
So
type
it's
of work.
a good,
And
okay.
Tom went and met with him and actually got into the conversation that day.
So you guys
He
feel
does a
good?
lot of historical work.
So you feel good with that?
I,
You guys? Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Did you say where the funding's coming from? You said you had funds?
We do have funds, yes. We have money from, we have 2 CPA grants that we got in 2019 and 2020. This has been on our radar for a while, so we're trying to get fixed. And then we also received $5,000 free cash, I believe in 2021 as well. So 2020 free cash, $5,000, Article 14. 2019 CPA funds for $8,000, which is Article 20. And then 2021 CPA funds for $20,000, Article 20 of town
So
meeting.
you've got more than enough
Yes.
to get this done.
In select board, early on in my tenure here, I had discussed with Connie and the board about prioritizing getting some of those smaller projects off of our special project list and completing them. So I'm very content that they are moving forward with this here this evening.
Did they give an estimate in terms of the amount of time it would take for the project?
believe, looks like it is 5 days that they've estimated. Day rate, prevailing wage to 5 days, and then a lump sum cost for like setting up a demobilization.
Another question for you, and what if any inconvenience to the building during those 5 days? Will you be shut down, will you be open? Can we, while our town offices that are there, have it be closed off, or what? Do
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know the answer for sure, Tom, I don't know.
I see no, I foresee, and sometimes it's not too good, but, I don't foresee any interference. The main door won't be blocked, nor will the lower entrance to the offices be blocked. They're working on the northeast corner, they will dig a hole, put up safety fence, and so you can't, walk around the pond. But the sidewalks, I don't believe will be interrupted.
I can't see it being aggressive, like on Friday, they installed 3-phase power to the building without closing the building, so
Oh, it's on there now?
it's working.
No, I think it's about time we tackled that project.
Yes, yeah, we're very excited to move forward on that, so.
That also goes back many years too, so, well. Any other questions? Yeah, Tom?
I'd like to compliment Nate, he helped propel this forward.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that, thank you. Anything else, any comments from anyone?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
So this, from what I see, is just dealing with the front of the building, am I correct to say that?
That is correct, yes, this is the northeast
Okay,
corner.
what about the northeast side? So what about the north side?
There is more foundation work that needs
Yeah,
to be done.
I mean, Mike and I went over there, and, I mean, cause it was dumping water down by the granite, and now the granite's crooked, which is making your mortar crack on your brick.
Yes.
So it's really, the granite needs to be re-leveled, so that's just another project.
It is another project,
Okay.
yes.
And
so-
you're aware of that,
And we are
obviously.
aware of it. We
Yeah.
actually, in December of 2023, we hired Wendy Frontiero. She is a architect and historical building preservationist, and she did a 2-day assessment of our building and gave us like a 25-page report.
Yeah.
Overall, the building's in pretty good shape, but she did
Yeah.
highlight certain areas that needed to be improved.
Yeah.
First and foremost, she did mention that the foundation that we're working on now is a priority.
Yeah, you
that-
gotta stop the water
Yes,
intrusion,
So that's
yeah.
kind of where we're going first, and then
Yeah.
hopefully we can, continue to.
You can't do it all at once, nobody's got that kind of dough hanging around.
Exactly. I
so-
think
If you
we did try
remember,
to
we
do it
tried a
once.
few months back,
Yeah.
and it came in way,
It came in
what,
at 150,000 or something.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, so
so
I was
we-
just, as
unfortunately,
long as it's
just-
on your radar, along with the generator and everything else we talked about a year ago.
Yes,
So,
yeah, so this is it's not always ideal to do things piecemeal, but at this point, we kind of.
It is what it is, right?
So,
Yeah.
yes.
all right, excellent, thank you.
Any other discussion or questions from the board, or anyone? Do we have a
Chairman, will you
motion?
accept the motion?
Yes, please.
I'd like to move to authorize the town administrator to enter into a contract with Murray Masonry for the library foundation repair project phase 1 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Connie.
Thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
Next item is the request for the plowing of the private ways. Basically, we're asking the board to consider a couple of questions here. If you still want this issue to be on the warrant. Travis is also available for questions, et cetera. Would you like to speak on this at all, or? Travis? Travis, would you like to speak on this?
I'm just here to see what's what. I looked at the roads, before that we had. On Pondview, I didn't go up the whole deal, it was private, had stick signs, so just the entrance of it had some asphalt potholes that would need to be filled. Plum Tree, it's pretty much the same. I went up there, except for the tarred section, there's two sections, one on each side that would need to have some patch done to them to hold them together. And then when you get to the top, there's a couple of potholes, and then as you go down, the standard washouts that they normally have, going from the left side to the right. And then those would have to be fixed. And then when you get to the turnaround, they got about a handful of large rocks sticking up out of the ground that need to be removed.
Mhm.
So it doesn't cut down the plow and all. What other ones?
Printers.
Princess Brook, I looked at, they seems, to be, held together. I didn't see any corrections that needed to be there.
Another issue
And that's
that,
all.
that the board needs to consider is in terms of the Plumtree. At our last meeting, a lot of confusion and some items were brought up in terms of just the legality of certain things, and we're still in the process of trying to get to the bottom of all that. So, another question is also to be decided by the board, because of the nature of that problem, which could take some time, is if it's in the interest of the board to decide whether we will plow Plumtree this winter, and putting everything aside for the following year, et cetera. But these are things that we need to make a decision on tonight, those items, okay?
So, can I just get clarity about what we're trying to do here with this? Because I think at the last meeting, we set out criteria for these private ways that they had to submit and request, and there was a process for us to consider them being plowed in the winter. Have any of these private ways met that criteria yet?
Two.
Okay.
So-
Are these private ways that we've historically plowed?
So that's where it goes from here. This is kind of a mess. My suggestion is going to be follow Travis's advice and deny of course, the two that did not meet the qualification. The third based on he had a reason, but one of them in simply the budget, and then my recommendation for Plumtree with all of the legal confusion and is the owner alive, taxes haven't been paid in almost 20 years, is to allow the town the time to look into it while just being good neighbors and plowing Plumtree one last time. And in the spring, allow Travis to work with Mark and the neighbors to figure out what we would have to do to get Plumtree up to a point where it would be conceived as a positive and approvable application sometime next year. It will also be my suggestion to the select board that we work with the DPW director to create a better and more standardized workflow for this, so that when applicants come to you, they come with the opinion of the DPW director already right there, and it is the job of the select board to either approve or deny said application, not necessarily go back and forth for a couple of weeks with asking questions.
So, for clarity, at the last meeting, we assured our constituents that roads that were being plowed historically would continue to be plowed for this fiscal year, for this coming winter. Is that the case?
Yes,
And
for
that's
only
only Plumtree Lane?
Plumtree.
Okay.
And
Only
that-
Plumtree.
And that is because back either in 2014 or 2017, the last time we did this process, Plumtree and Streeter were the two roads that were approved. Streeter Road, if you remember historically, was approved to be a public way, which is something I have sent the information to Mark and the residents of Plumtree Lane about. And that is something the road is considerably far away from achieving, but is still something that we can look at the information on. But traditionally, we have been plowing Plumtree since 2014, 2017. I think COVID got in the way because when the next time, it's an application period of every 3 years. So if it was 2017, the next time that it would have been considered was 2020, and then the following time it would have been considered as last year. So
Okay.
we've been plowing on DPW dime for pushing 10 years,
So for this winter, we're gonna continue to do what we've historically done.
if that is the will of the
That,
board.
that we have to decide on tonight,
What's the,
okay? Because we did not specifically decide on that at the last meeting.
Okay.
So that's it.
And then we have a process for the remaining 6 private ways that are looking to be publicly plowed. And we'll follow that process for fiscal year 2020, winter 2026 and going forward.
Well, I mean, but Prentice Brook Road has done all the proper things, so we should be taking a vote on whether we should put them on the town meeting.
Travis,
Sure.
do you have an opinion one way or another
they-
on Printers Brook?
Yeah.
I did not get that from you, but I know that we had spoken earlier, you noted that it did not qualify. What is your justification there?
Justification, like I said, the road seems to be fine. I went up it this morning. What it comes down to with all this, it's funding. We already have budget constraints, and to take on something that I was already in constraints with Plumtree, and it's not that it's nothing about that, it's about the town and the policy. And we asked legal, and they hadn't even got back to us about whether or not we should plow it, because we do not have a binding contract to plow that road. So it's financial, it's an opening for our town to possibly have some kind of ramification if something does happen.
What street's he talking about? You talking about Plumtree?
I'm talking about Plumtree because everyone's talking about Plumtree.
But I'm asking
As for the-
specifically
As for the
about
other
Painters
road,
Brook.
they filled out all their applications, I understand that.
Yeah.
They did that, I went and looked at the road, it doesn't need any repair.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, the monies that are gonna have to come are gonna end up coming from my budget, cause it's allotted through the select board. So, in the constraints that we have in the town's budgets right now, I can't see how you're gonna afford to do it.
So we have to vote it every 3 years, right? So what if, and I don't know if you can do this, Travis, so am I correct to think that we contract out for the, like Plumtree, we have a contractor do it?
No, we've done
Correct.
Oh.
We have a contractor doing it, what I'm
So-
stating is that
Yep.
I don't even have enough in my budget to do Plumtree.
Totally get it, Travis. I guess what I'm thinking is I'm aligning this with every 3 years, right? So how much does it cost right now that you generally are expending each year, give or take, for Plumtree for a contractor to do it?
14.
I think the Plumtree last year was like, I don't know if it was, I don't honestly have the number in front of me. I do know it was right around like maybe 25.
25,000, 2,500.
2,500. I wanna say it was
So-
14 last year with minimal snow.
So let's say hypothetically it's 2,500. What if we put an article on town meeting, and remember, special articles can go beyond a fiscal year, right? Special town meeting article, see if the town will vote to accept blah blah blah, and put money aside for plowing, and this is a specific thing for Plumtree for FY 25, FY 26, and FY 27, not to exceed $7,500. And then we've covered ourselves for plowing Plumtree for the next 3 years. Townspeople vote on it, then we're funded for 3 years till our next contract comes up. Townspeople don't vote on it, we don't plow it. Do the same thing with Printers Brook Road. Estimate the cost, whatever we think approximately it's gonna be, let's say it's 2,500, put a separate article, see if the town will vote to approve the plowing of this and do it for the 3 fiscal years. And remember, town meeting article stays open until you close it. So we can keep it open for the 3 years, and then that's what we're doing. So it doesn't constrain your budget, right? We have a 3-year contract with the roads people. We don't have to do this for another 3 years, and we funded it for 3 years. I am taking your free cash, but I'm putting it at the will of the people, you know? We don't have the ability to do it in budget. It's not fair to do it for free cash this year and then say, Travis, you have to eat this for the next 2 years. This was fully funded, and it gives the townspeople an opportunity. 3 years from now, let's say we don't have the free cash, townspeople can say, I'm sorry, we're not gonna be able to continue plowing this at this time, we don't have the funding for it. But at least this funds it for the length of the contract, the length of the 3 years, it helps us stay up to our part of the bargain, and it also gives the townspeople the opportunity to have to say of what's gonna happen for the next 3 years.
It's acting as like a devil's advocate on this, though. Heather,
Yep,
we can't assume that the legal situation is gonna just, go away for the benefit of the people who weren't here last week and don't know what we're talking about. In terms of a private way, one of the requirements for people who have a private way is that they are responsible for the upkeep of the road so that it doesn't do damage to our equipment. And it was brought up by the people on Plum Lane at our last meeting, information that none of us were prepared for or knew about. Apparently when the road was initially, I'm recapping so you can correct me if I'm mistaken. When it was the construction person was supposed to have been a continuous road all the way around, joining up with 68 again. He did not do that, it's a dead end. Then going back to now, they're responsible for keeping it up as a private way. It turns out that,
He owns the road.
David M.
David
Richards.
Richards owns the road. And we're trying to find, and Patricia's been talking to people out west. It's like, the old
I had to put
guy
my
with the shirt, where is
FBI
David
hat
Richards?
on.
So we're in a quandary here, because if he's the owner of the road, he's responsible for the upkeep. If he has passed away, which we're not certain of, then it would go to his family, so all of this, is no guarantee, in my opinion, are gonna be resolved for the town to make a decision and say, okay, we're gonna do this, when that's a very important legal thing, because it's gonna fall back on these people. So that's what the problem is with Plum Lane, for those of you who weren't here, I'm watching your eyes, what is this?
Yeah.
So that's what this is all about.
So I would keep them as two separate articles, right? So Printer Brook Road, we're saying, listen, you've met all the requirements, it should go before the townspeople.
Exactly.
It will cost $7,500, do the townspeople wanna do this or not, we should make sure we inform the individuals of 24, 26, 28, 32, 34, and 36, that this is going there, cause they should show up to town meeting to advocate why their road should receive funding from free cash, so that the town can hire a contractor to come and plow for the
So-
next 3 years, and then they're done for 3 years. If Plum Tree Lane, as a separate article as it should be, cause each of these should go as their own, and people should be able to decide, then just do it for 1 year because of all the legal pieces. But if we're saying we're gonna plow it this year, let's stop making Travis try to figure out how he's gonna cover the cost of it within his budget, have the town people still have an opportunity to have a say, and then just do it for 1 instead of the traditional 3, because there's so many weird things going on with it, we need to figure it out.
What about the repairs?
So, but that's,
That's the
I don't
only-
have, so
that's-
if we had discussed previously that we were gonna plow it this year regardless, and we haven't had made them repair it in the past, and there's an argument of who has to repair it in the
Right.
first place, if we're gonna plow it, then let's put the money aside to plow it,
Right.
and try to
Regardless
figure
of
it
the
out.
repairs?
We have had them repair it in the past.
Plum Tree, Travis reported that, yeah, didn't you report that Plum Tree has been repaired and is now plowable?
No.
No.
Painter's Brook is
Oh.
plowable.
No,
Plum Tree is not
the
plowable.
Plum Tree, I've sent out letters before, and they've fixed areas that needed to be fixed prior years. So either or, whether you say yes to, which this has nothing to do with me, because I honestly think you're in a legal deal on it, because you have nothing stating to plow it, there's no contract, and there's liability, it's nothing against anybody on the road, it's just for the town's purposes, there's liability in case something happens. And then the people on the road could also say, I don't own the road, so why do I wanna put money into the road?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Just a quick question,
again, identify.
Jocelyn Deneen, 23 Cruise Road, it is my recollection that Dave Richards also built the Dogwood roads. Those were
Correct.
also supposed to be connected,
Those are also
a
a
loop
mess.
that never happened, and
Does he own those? Cause we certainly don't know
No,
about that.
the-
Donated it.
so what's coming to mind is that somehow, some way, they petitioned the town to turn those private roads into public ways. So is that not an option for the roads that have met compliance to be, like, I don't know.
Well, Plum Lane it's a
Not
dead
Plum
end, most of those roads are dead ends.
And
so
so
that
therefore.
One of the requirements of a private way, okay, is that, to be accepted by the town, is that the town have access to it
Yeah,
as what, the way it was supposed to have been
Understood.
built to begin with,
yeah,
and it doesn't, it's a dead
Gotcha.
end, part of
Okay.
it is paved and part of it is dirt.
okay.
I've driven it myself and turned around
So the
people's yards
Bridgers
there.
Brook, though
so-
it meets
Mrs. Denise,
qualifications,
the
not.
qualifications
Yeah.
of the plowing of private ways policy
Yeah.
and the qualifications that would meet legal street acceptance
Are
for
not
a
the
public
same.
way are not the same.
Understood.
There's
Thank
quite
you.
a difference.
Yeah,
The
understood.
good residents of Streeter Road went through quite the
Yeah.
battle to bridge that gap.
I can
so.
understand that. I just meant that with Dogwood, in terms of the way they were constructed, I'm quite confident they were similar to the
Yep.
Plumtree construction, hence the future problems, current problems, and the fact that they were meant to be a loop and not a dead end,
Right, yeah.
and that
So-
never happened, so.
Hold it,
You can go ahead.
all right.
What is our legal exposure to plowing Plumtree as we have historically been doing for years? Have we talked to council about it?
I emailed council, they had no opinion. I can push again.
It's one of those that you won't know until you get sued.
Right.
And I hate to say it that way, but that's the way with everything in life. You don't know what your full legal ramifications are until it all goes.
The problem with that
to
is,
shit.
and they don't own the land, and we don't own the land, and
Exactly.
we're putting a truck on it, let's say we're putting a truck on that land, and somebody let's say just something runs over somebody's pet or something. I mean, where are you at? I mean, how did this place get 20 years in arrears of not paying taxes and we did nothing about it? That's what I'd like to
I
know.
don't know where he is.
Small.
It doesn't matter.
That's a whole nother topic that we
Yeah.
really
It
don't
isn't.
wanna
It's
get
still
into
part of
right
the-
now.
it's part of
We
this
don't have the
topic.
bandwidth to get into that now. The concern on the table is plowing Plumtree Lane and these other
It's
streets.
liability. 'Cause we
Well,
don't own it.
there are two concerns on the table. Number one, do we want to put this issue on the warrant for the present special town meeting coming up?
Well, that's the process.
Number
I mean,
one,
Because plowing Plumtree Lane is going to be, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, no additional liability than it has been for the last 7 years.
Correct.
Like, it's,
Until something happens.
yeah, but there was liability the whole time. Like,
There was, yeah, but until something happens,
And
you
now
don't
that
know
we
what the
know-
liability is.
Now that we know,
Right.
it's our responsibility to act, whereas before, we could be negligent.
I
to the
agree.
idea.
Could we get some sort of a legal document to the residents that, exonerates the town from any
They
problems?
don't own the road.
They own the property.
That
They don't
abuts
own the road.
That abuts
Abuts the
Mr.
road.
Richards' road, and Mr. Richards' other properties in Montana are now owned by a venture capitalist firm that operates a P.O. box out of a post office or.
A UPS store
Are
in
you-
Scottsdale, Arizona.
It's an onion. It keeps
Yeah,
going and going.
more and more.
okay, hold on just a second, sir.
Mark Fleischer at 8 Plumtree Lane, in regards to the liability and what's been the liability for the last 10 or 10 years that I've lived there. If you don't plow it and somebody has a medical emergency, that's a
Agreed.
big town, that liability is probably more than running over somebody's dog.
Well, I put dog to be nice.
I know.
All right?
I know.
Or a squirrel, let me put squirrel, okay?
Either way.
So, it's a huge liability, but we still have to provide medical services and fire services to you, so we have to go up the road, right? And I understand that, I do understand that, believe me, I'm on your side, I'm on your side. And I'm on your side to see it get plowed this year, because we've been plowing it since 2012. I mean, it wouldn't be right for us to pull the plug right away and say, see you later, you know what I mean? So,
Has the residents thought about a plan to fix at least the minimums?
Well, but what? And it's not ours. So
I get that, but you fixed it before.
we did.
Yeah.
And we also, but what we fixed before was trimming all the trees and everything around the edges so that people can drive through.
Yeah.
I'm fine doing that, because that's my property.
yeah.
I'll cut all the trees back off the side
Okay,
of my
so
road.
I'm just gonna throw this out there as devil's advocate. If we put this on the town warrant and the folks of town say they don't wanna fix it, why do we wanna plow it and vote it down? I'm just putting it out there that you may want to at least come up with some kind of idea to do a bare minimum between all of you folks so that way that is not an obstacle of a denial from the other residents.
And I can send you the legal language. In the state of Massachusetts, you're legally allowed, I looked this up because someone owns the parcel and that sweeps in front of my driveway. You're allowed to do improvements that, as long as they are improvements to a property that you have access or egress over. So the owners of the land could technically go out and fill some potholes and level out.
Which we do
Yeah.
Yeah.
periodically. There are people throughout the roads that fill potholes periodically. And like I said, we, at one time, I think this is about 8 years ago, we got the first letter and we all went and everybody broke out their chainsaws and cut everything down and we were fine after that. This is the first time I've ever seen this letter, and I've been a citizen for over 10 years here. And so I believe last time we talked about having Travis come down and meet me, tell me when,
That's
or
what I was gonna
I
do
will
again,
call
is
him, or,
Could
you
you
know.
meet with Travis, should the select board decide to move this forward to town meeting for funding from free cash, which is the only reliable way, because we shouldn't be kind of punishing individual budgets for negligence, especially now that we know. Could you and your neighbors meet with Travis to come up with a plan to
Yes.
at least bring it to a minimum substandard, so that we're not super worried about trucks or
Right.
what could happen?
Yep, no, I'll call him tomorrow. If that works with Travis, I'll call him tomorrow. And then the other part of it is about his budget. If it's been his budget for the last 10 years, how is it not in the budget?
It hasn't been in his budget, he's been eating it in his budget.
Thanks, Travis. I'll call you tomorrow.
And the budgetary confinements of last year took some more funding away from the DPW and other departments' budget than we would have preferred. The DPW has a lower budget in FY '25 than they did in FY '21.
Thank you to the schools.
So, but I am trying to do some financial work with the director to get them a little bit more money. We cannot put all of it back, but there is a proposal for the special town meeting warrant, and he's going to be making a request to the finance committee for some reserve funds. So we're trying to plug the gap, but there was a significant deduction from the DPW budget and several other budgets to fund the variable bills that we had go up exponentially last year.
Okay, sir?
Stephen Scott, 9 Queen Lane. In 1999, my father passed away. And all the time, if he lived on Plumford Lane, he had a tractor, so he plowed the road. So who plowed the road in 2010? I mean, 2000 to 2012. Nobody on the road had a plow. Nobody else plowed it. So it was plowed by somebody. And nobody paid anybody to plow the road.
I couldn't tell you.
Like,
It could have been the
you
town.
say it was from 2012 to now that you plowed the road, but it's been plowed, the road's been there for 35 years.
So, sir, they could have been doing it, but they did it the proper way with every 3 years the application. What we're saying is sometime in the early 2010s, we stopped doing the applications. Like, there's a policy in place for just that reason. We don't know how far it goes back with doing it properly. We just know at a point, we stopped doing it properly. Well, and that's not anyone on the road's fault or anyone that is sitting at this table as a part of the town organization's faults either. But now that we know about it, we have to do it in accordance with the policy that is on the books.
I understand that. Now, according to, as the road, the pavement ends and the road becomes potholes. Those potholes have been filled many, many times. They're not gonna stay full, because they're sitting on top of a ledge and there's water running over the top of the ledge, which washes those potholes out every time.
Yep, and you just gotta keep going back and filling it, that's all.
Where the runoff is, in the summertime, in the middle of the road, you could see an underground spring flowing right up and running right down that gully.
I've been out raking and raking and raking
She
every
rakes,
year.
she rakes back everything.
I just can't get this one to kill him.
She just keeps raking in, but the plow pushes up on the side. Because the year that the two residents bought reground.
3 of us did, I did
No,
too.
3. But they bought reground, they hired a man to spread it, he spread it. The plow pushed it all
All
down on
down
the
the
ball.
circle.
That circle that you came through, when you went up, it was a hole. There was a hole there, there was a puddle there. And the plowers pushed it down, every year they pushed it down into that circle. And that circle is just raising up and up, and then the water washes all the dirt down there. So everything that we try to do to stop the road from washing out is not working.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, would you
Yeah,
accept the
just,
motion?
there was one more.
Yeah, so I was just
And
gonna
that's-
add.
This will be the last one, and
Yep,
then
that's
we'll
fine.
put a motion on the table.
I was just gonna ask, when did Travis start? What year?
6 years ago.
10 years ago.
Okay, so that explains why,
6.
like I said, 10+ years ago when I didn't get the letter for the first few years, and now that I get the letter, now that's why
Mhm.
there was a gap. Because whoever was before Travis, whoever was before you, weren't doing what they were supposed to. And that's why I never had letters until, after I was a resident for 3 years or so. That makes sense.
And our intent is to get back to
Follow
that
the rules.
policy and follow it from here on in.
And I do commend Travis as the town administrator for bringing this to my attention, to bring to the select board. Following the policies that are on our books are important, or they would not be policies. So I thank Travis for doing his duties as the director and bringing this to our attention. I know he doesn't love the way this is likely gonna go, but I do appreciate him bringing it to the attention of myself and the attention of the board to have conversations like this evening.
And we
Thank you,
also want to
Travis.
thank the people for submitting the applications after we asked you to do that. We appreciated that too. Heather?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, would you accept the motion?
Yes.
Okay, this is a multi-part motion. You ready?
Get a good piece of
Alright,
paper.
For two
Mr.
of
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we add an article for a special town meeting for the plowing of the private way of Printers Brook Road and to be funded to the tune of $7,500 to encompass FY '25, FY '26, and FY '27 winter seasons. Second part, I'd like to put a similar motion on for the town to plow the private way of Plumtree Lane for the fiscal year of 2025 and fund that item at $2,500. Third motion, I would like to amend our current private road snow plowing policy to add a provision that upon meeting all requirements, an amount estimated to cover the cost of snow maintenance for that road for that upcoming 3-year period be provided by the DPW director and for it to be put on the next town meeting warrant.
Second.
One question.
Go ahead.
I do not have a quote for Printers Brook. The number you got for the 7,500 came from more or less Plumtree, because I do not have a quote yet for Printers.
We'll work on it, Travis.
I'd like to amend the first part of the motion to modify it to $7,500 or the amount as dictated by Travis.
I still second it.
Competitive bid process.
It's
Okay,
true.
we have a lengthy motion made and second.
Oh.
Any questions or discussion?
Can you repeat the motion?
Nope.
I would really like it if you did though.
Yeah. Watch the video.
I can summarize it. It's essentially 3 parts. First part addresses Printer Brook Road, put it on special town meeting warrant, add funding for it to the tune of $7,500 for the amount as recommended by Travis. The second for the next 3 years, so it will cover fiscal 25, 26, and 27 snow.
Can I ask a clarifying question? 7,500 for 3 years worth of plowing, right? Not
No,
$7,500.
$7,500 total
Okay, yeah.
appropriated from
Alright.
free cash
Yeah.
for FY '25, FY '26, and FY '27. So if we run out of money at that point, then we'll have to reconsider how we're going to fund that, or if we're going to. The second piece being Plumtree Lane.
I got it. I got
Yeah,
it.
but
Oh,
KP
yeah,
asked for the
okay.
repeat of the motion. Plumtree Lane was the second one to be placed on special town meeting, but funded only for the cost of 1 fiscal year, so FY '25, because we have lots of unknowns for 2,500. And then third part is to fix the policy so that we know what we're doing moving forward.
Thank you.
Good for you. Yeah, just
One
all
more
set
time
on that
for
one.
clarity.
Yes.
All set on that.
That's why we, no sharp objects at the table.
Just a minute, I have to get, we have a motion is made and second. So now it's open for discussion or questions. Tim,
Yes, just to.
identify yourself,
I'm
please.
sorry, Tim Hawley, 35 Mount Jefferson. Just a suggestion when this is presented for town meeting, that the discussion of the town's risk exposure of providing plowing services or not providing plowing services somehow be summarized, because from the discussion I've heard tonight, I'm not sure where those risks are.
We're gonna get a legal opinion on some of this.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful for the town meeting, that's all.
Any other discussion? Yeah, Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. I haven't heard it discussed what the other options are for Plumtree. Other places are plowed by contract and funded by the owners along the way. Others, we've heard, do it themselves. The thing is that all this liability can maybe be somewhat simplified if the owners go ahead and take care of the plowing themselves, as Printers Brook did in the past. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Further comment? Yes?
Yes, as far as the ownership of Plumtree Lane, the people and the residents on that road do not own it.
We're aware of that.
It is privately owned. The gentleman just said the owners.
And we're working on that.
Because they work
Right.
to plow it themselves.
And it's appearing that nobody owns it anymore because there's no one, so I don't know what you do in something like that.
Well,
On the
realistically-
on the other end, if he didn't pay his taxes, then why doesn't the state take it? Because they don't want it.
The town.
It would be the
They
town
don't
taking
want,
it.
Should have
they
been
don't want the
taken by title,
liability, they
tax
don't want to
title
repair
already.
it.
It wouldn't be the state, it would be the town.
Or the town. Well, the town doesn't want to take it for non-payment of taxes.
But it's because it's not, there's not enough owed, there's not enough money, it's gonna cost more to take it.
We'd have to put a
But-
half a
but you'll
million
take-
into that
you'll
road
take
to
a
make it up
person's
to
home
a
for
town
non-payment.
code.
Mr. Chair, put it up.
That's
Hold
a
on.
whole,
Do we
that's
know
a
how
whole
much is owed in
second.
taxes?
Hold it, everybody, excuse
20
me.
years.
Peter, wait a second, there's too many people talking all at once, so nobody's gonna be heard, okay? So,
Mr. Chair, I respectfully request that you move the motion.
okay, Mike had, I
I'm sorry, I
said I
didn't hear
would.
that, Nate.
We're moving the question, but go ahead, I said I would call on you, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. I did not want to rehash the ownership of the road and whatnot. I certainly appreciate this gentleman's comment there. What, if I were an owner there, if as the motion has been proposed and seconded, if that doesn't pass at town meeting, they're gonna have to do something, and that something might be do nothing and just take, hope that it's a very mild winter, or they're gonna plow it. When I say they're gonna plow it, they're gonna find a way. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'd like to move the question, which means to end the discussion. So, that being the case, we have, does everybody remember the motion now that's on?
I'm not repeating it.
I can read it off from the
It's
record
good.
if you'd like.
One more time, read it, please, so that, and then we'll take the vote.
Member Monroe made the motion to add an article for a special town meeting for the plowing of private way, Printers Brook, for the amount provided by the DPW director, or $7,500 for the next 3 years, taken from free cash. Then a similar motion for the fiscal year of 2025 for the plowing of the private way of Plumtree Lane, for the amount of $2,500, also coming from free cash. And then a third article, amend the current road policy to provide upon all, and that's when it starts to taper off a little bit, so.
Upon all requirements being met.
Yep, provided all requirements by the DPW director.
Thank you. Okay,
See, I told
And just the last part was to add it to the future special town meeting and fund it for the 3-year
Oh.
period.
This policy in whole is going to be coming up as part of your policy review sooner than you
Yeah,
think.
we get the proposals, yeah, we get the proposals.
Can we shred it?
Okay.
We'll work on it then.
Okay, so, all in favor of the
Aye.
motion?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. So that will go on the warrant.
Okay.
Alright, before we continue, Mr. Chairman, do we wanna give folks a chance if they wanna depart?
Yes, those, thank you, yeah.
And can I, Travis, will you be in your office tomorrow?
7 to 3.
I will call you. Thank you all.
Thanks. Take
Better
care.
off probably early morning.
Okay.
Early morning.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
The whole room is cleared.
Well, that's why I wanted to give everyone an opportunity, I felt like people were being held hostage.
Well, we still have a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
All right.
5 minutes.
We volunteered for it.
Mr. Chairman, can we take an official 5-minute recess? Can we take 5 minutes?
Yeah, we'll take it, all right, take
Sorry,
5
I remember my
minutes.
hands under some cold water.
I get a hall pass. You gotta ask them for a hall pass, that's all they know.
Hey, you know what I can have right now? Chocolate, or at least the next week and a half until my baby is still determined to be allergic to milk, and then I'll go back off it.
Good for you.
In the spring. And there are some protection.
They might have something better next door.
Do I look as disheveled as I feel?
No.
Oh, okay. I had 3 interviews I was doing today, and my eyes were like glazing over and watering, and I'm sitting there going. I just added to it. Fire permits and economic development committee. But I made it 40 hours a week. From 27.
Wow.
I've had about a dozen applicants.
They heard my name.
Yeah. I've interviewed 6.
Yes.
And it's always fun.
So, where the wall
One of my
is,
favorite questions
walk
that throws people
up
every
to the
time is,
corner where they're gonna be.
please share with us a memorable
We're right in the
customer
corner.
service experience you've
Yes,
had
the
with
big blocks on the corner.
I got
they were
that
getting
from
on my
a former assistant library director down in Wellesley. She's like, Heather, I've been using this question for 20 years, and I assure you that every time that someone gives me a negative experience, I found it as a really good test, and I say, thank you, have a nice day. And I don't call it a day. But usually it's a good turnout that.
So wait a minute, what's the question?
Share a memorable customer service experience when you were the customer. So, some people can't think of anything positive, like that's just not how their brain goes. And if you can't, and I had one guy who actually did share a negative experience, but he did a complete spin of how it really was a positive experience, and I was like,
Call the meeting back to order.
I might have been wrong.
That's all right.
I'm assuming we're still recording, all right. Item 8 is a consent agenda. We only have appointments on that, and if there are any questions, but I'll give you this information. Both of these people, it's a contractual obligation. They're receiving a 2% increase based on the contract. So if there are no questions or hold on this, if we could have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So they,
I've got a question.
All right.
So you're telling me these are current employees just getting a raise?
Yes, contractually, because of the acceptance of the collective bargaining agreement that was accepted by the board 2 meetings ago.
follow-up question. Nate, are these two forms different, or am I hallucinating here?
Which forms?
Well, the one for Neil says wage authorization form, and the one for Benjamin says personnel authorization form, and this one has 5 options for the employees test, as opposed to the last is 4. You guys trying to test me?
I'm actually redoing the whole
Wage
form
orth,
for next meeting, so.
4 options, personnel orth, 5 options.
She's right.
Yes, you're right.
Every
but
now and then.
The forms are being completely redone because
Okay.
they haven't been redone since 2010, 2012.
That's fine, the only thing, and I think KP, someone just mentioned this, I don't know if KP if it was you or not, but, so you're saying on the first one, Neil, so he's a current employee, contractual wage change, so that last box would only be checked. I have no other questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, could we have the motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Under new business, the
Just
first
for
thing we...
clarification.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
in favor. I was a little slow, I was preoccupied. So I'm in favor of that last vote.
That's good, cause that's how Patricia recorded it,
That's how it was
so we're
recorded.
good.
Did
You're
you
good.
record that
I
as a
recorded
unanimous?
as an agreement, yes, I did.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. New business, the signing of the November 5th warrant.
So this is for the state election, everything's predetermined, there's nothing we've added, we have no additional add-ons, this is simply just the state saying, hey, people come vote in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I just had to
So-
adjust it to say Hubbardston, pretty much.
It's a lot of work.
So if there are no questions, we need a motion to approve the signing of the special, of the election November 5th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion on that?
Yes, I've got
Go ahead.
discussion. Didn't we just talk about adding a,
Town meeting,
This,
Special
this is the
election.
election, you're thinking town meeting.
This is the presidential election.
Election warrant,
Yeah, election warrant,
For
right.
like the president.
November 5th.
Yeah.
We have nothing local.
Not the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr.
That-
Robinson has a question.
Yes, Tom,
Early voting's been going on for quite a while. I'm sorry, Tom Robinson, 5 Brigham Street.
thank you.
Early voting's been going on prior to this approval of the ballot. Are we gonna lose any votes?
No, you don't need a warrant for that. This is just a warrant for the election day itself.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you, Mel. Okay, anything else? If not, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
yes,
Opposed? Motion carried. So we'll sign that tonight before we leave?
Yep.
Right, okay.
We're never leaving.
Yeah, we're never leaving. I-
Mel's gonna fall asleep at the table.
It's a-
Keep her here.
This is just my face, I
Okay.
always look big as well.
That's why they pay us the big
Pretty much
bucks.
never
Okay, new business item B, the special town meeting, closing of the warrant. Again, if there are no questions or anything, we just need a motion to move to close the warrant for the November 19th to 2024 special town meeting, pending legal review and finalization of the warrant.
And that's a, second for discussion.
Yes, once we get a second.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I second and request discussion.
Okay. Motion made and second. Yes, go ahead.
So just for clarification, so we have these 9 proposals and then we're gonna add 10 and 11 that we just voted.
Well, number 9 is plowing of
Oh,
private ways.
fantastic, never mind.
So we'll
9 and 10.
do 9 and 10.
Awesome,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Okay. I'll make sure I write on.
That was all I had for discussion on that one.
What will be, what will be?
It was.
Those are yours.
Ten.
There's only 5 of them, so.
So 9 would be, the first road that we talked about.
Printer Brooks.
Printer Brooks, and then 10 would be.
Plum Tree.
Plum Tree.
Oh, never mind, they're
When
all
we
right
get
here.
to the, just a minute, yeah. Okay, so the motion,
To close the warrant.
to close the warrant, that's basically what we're dealing with right now, so.
Yes.
Did we get a motion on that?
Yes.
And second,
Yes.
okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I got further discussion, I'm looking for number 9.
We're gonna go through the whole thing.
So we're going through them.
Yeah, but the proposal for number 9's not in their packet. It's not
Nine
on.
probably
Because we
doesn't
didn't
exist,
have a
so say-
proposal to be made, because we didn't have the discussion, so I did not know what to place on the proposal.
And it's already taken care of.
And it's already taken
So-
care of.
So if we, for clarity, if we close the warrant, are we going to just have to reopen it to add 9 and 10?
No, we have yet to determine what by the select board standards is going to be placed on said closed warrant. All you are doing by closing the warrant is closing the time period in which a proposal for a warrant article can be made.
Okay, so,
Because I still have to do legal review and there's a lot of lifting left.
So you can still adjust, you can't add new
Yes.
warrants.
In the proposed language, I have that it will pending legal review and warrant finalization
Okay.
on every single one. Because if something changes, I'd rather fix it and have you guys sign it and move forward with it correct than have to redo the whole.
Warrant.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're gonna modify 9 and add 10?
Yes, we're bringing a whole packet to you guys at your November 4th meeting and that's gonna be the public hearing. And I would like to have the public hearing prior to the signing and posting of the warrant, so that if a resident or person in general may bring a considerable issue or question forward, you guys could instruct me to change it prior to finalization.
Sure, very good.
and in terms of signing the warrant, you're talking about the November 19th
The November 19th, which we will.
warrant, because we're signing a warrant tonight.
Which we will close on November 4th in accordance with this here chart.
Mhm. Okay, anything else?
Looking forward to the memos.
All right, all in favor of the motion
They're
to
getting good.
close the warrant? Good.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, before we start dealing with these proposals, just to clarify how we're gonna handle this. We're gonna deal with each one at a time, but it'll be the same motion for each one at the end of the discussion for each one, and that is simply to place the motion to place the proposal on the warrant.
Very good.
And we'll either vote it up or down, it'll be the same one. Okay, so the first proposal has to do with exemption of town-owned administrative buildings from firearm prohibited areas designated.
Mr. Chair, may I clarify something for the order?
Yes.
Just ahead of it, so everybody knows. A town-owned administrative building under Massachusetts general law generally refers to any municipality owned or operated structure that is used for conducting the business of the municipality. This includes buildings such as city or town halls, courthouses, and other similar facilities designated for municipal purposes. According to MGL Chapter 40, Section 3, towns have the authority to hold, lease, and manage such properties for public use, and the select board or authorized officials may oversee their use and upkeep. These buildings are used to facilitate administrative functions related to the municipality's government and governance and public service.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, the library is an administrative building, at least by that.
So is there, Any questions or discussion on the first proposal?
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
Nate, you said you have not sent this to legal
I
yet?
have sent this to
Oh, you
legal.
have
This
sent
is
it
the
to legal?
only one I sent to legal.
Oh, okay.
And Carolyn's opinions and justifications are in your packet.
Okay, so, but she says vote to accept the provisions of MGL?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like a local, so she's treating
It's
it as a local
option. That's
acceptance
exactly
statute?
what it is.
Okay, even though it doesn't have a local acceptance option, it has a local exclusion option, so to
Yep.
speak?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my only question.
Tom Robinson, 5 Brigham Street. I find the language a little bit convoluted.
It was written by a lawyer.
Well, you said certain buildings are administrative buildings. And I think it includes everything that Hubbardston has.
No. Not the schools.
Not the schools, 100% not the schools, and anywhere in which voting is
No,
participated.
not the voting
There's-
areas, not where the votes are tabulated. Those are all out of,
There's a different law that excludes.
You're prohibited.
You're not listening, just a second.
Okay.
The exemption deals with schools and whatnot. But your definition that you just read includes everything in the town.
No, it describes town-owned administrative buildings under Massachusetts general law.
Yeah, read it again. It says.
so under the
everything
law,
in it.
can I just step in here?
Peter, go
Because
ahead.
I've dealt with this all day today, I've dealt with this whole deal. So, a town-owned administrative building is a building where the town does business out of. The DPW is a town-owned administrative building because we perform services out of that building. The fire department is a town-owned building, we perform services out of that building. The town hall is a town-owned building, we provide services out of that basement of the library for now.
Where I think this question's going because of the audience is the library a town-owned administrative building?
Technically, yes. Technically, yes.
But based on the 2 library trustees, Selena, are you in the library trustees? No, the 2 library trustees and the director being here this evening, I'm assuming that the question's going to be, does this pertain to the library?
Well, I'm here for more than just the.
Yeah, no, and upon other questions.
First off, one of the letters in the back, the lawyer, eliminated the word own.
I'm sorry, Tom, what was that, eliminated which word?
Eliminated the word owned.
Yes,
Oh.
she scratched out owned and just put in town administrative buildings.
So it doesn't belong in this text. What's the definition of a firearm?
It all depends who you talk to. 'Cause
Well, I'm
everybody's-
asking the chair.
Okay.
You asking me for a definition of a firearm?
I think all questions have to be addressed to the chair.
Well,
Please.
Peter, go ahead. I
My
defer to a
definition
person who knows more about it than I do.
Of a firearm is, now the law has just changed in the state, okay, you know that, right?
Assume I know nothing.
Assume you know nothing. So,
You'll be next.
your receiver, a firearm is a receiver that houses a trigger mechanism, a fire mechanism that will, when striking a cartridge, will produce an explosion and send a round down the chamber.
Is that the definition in the law?
Mr. Robinson.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just telling you what I see.
Heather has something, just a minute. Okay, go ahead.
Keep in mind ChatGPT, but Mass General Laws firearm is generally defined under Chapter 140, Section 121. According to the section of firearms, any weapon that is capable of discharging a projectile by means of an explosive. The definition includes handguns, rifles, shotguns, but excludes certain devices like antique firearms and air guns.
That was pretty close.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yours is way more descriptive.
Yes,
but
it is.
This is what I got from MGL.
Yeah.
Does that help, Tom?
Yes, that's a good
Okay.
start, but it's,
So a stun gun is not a firearm, so stun guns can go in the library. A knife is not a firearm, a knife can go in the library. Right?
I won't say right to anything you say.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Can't we on this thing?
It's,
We
they,
can determine
she
our
just
own.
read the law, so if I wanted to carry a stun gun in the library illegally, I can,
Now is if this is going to town meeting.
right?
Like, this is a conversation that we are not solving this evening.
Okay.
The question on the
Right.
table is this question going to
Going
town
to-
meeting?
right.
I
Going to be placed on the
do
warrant.
not have Carolyn live online. Carolyn is legal
Okay.
counsel, for those who do not know. I have provided every piece of text that we exchanged regarding this specific issue.
Where does the rec field fall?
That
Is that like a,
we don't think we do administrative
administrative.
offerings there.
Have on occasion.
yeah, we had a meeting up there to open thing under the pavilion.
Well, I
And
cannot
we've-
speak to that. I do
We've
not have a
actually
link,
had
and I do not have a
2020
link.
town meeting there
Mhm.
in the field,
That's true.
cause it was
It's a
COVID.
town-owned field, why can't you go up there with a fire?
Oh, I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's
No.
what I'm asking. Does-
Town-owned. Just a minute, okay. In terms of the legal, should we mention that at all?
We're obviously we're one of the first communities to act on this. I'm obviously going to run this by legal counsel again. There will be legal counsel at the town meeting that night. It'll not be Carolyn, because she had a prior obligation that night, but it'll be another attorney named Brian Mazur, who I've worked with in the past and has worked with Hubbardson in the past. I don't, in my completely respectful opinion of the board and of the trustees, I don't think there's any benefit to sit here and hash out the
No, 'cause
legalities
we don't know,
of
we don't really
this
have the
evening.
legal answer.
The question in front of the select board this evening, without having a lawyer present and without doing exhaustive research with said lawyer present, is, are we putting this question forward? The question is not, are we putting forward this exact language? Because the proposed motion is to move the item forward pending legal review and warrant finalization. If, as we're heading towards legal review and warrant finalization, something changes that changes the core of the potential article, we will amend as necessary at the will of the board. So all we're doing tonight is essentially saying, is this something the select board would like me, acting as town administrator, to place on a document that will be presented in front of you in 2 weeks' time for public opinion and for finalization? At that time, I think it would be beneficial for us to request legal counsel, come to the public hearing, because
It's gonna be fun.
it's gonna be much. But at this time, all that's being asked is this in the interest of the board to put on a warrant for future consideration? If in 2 weeks' time I bring it here and one way or another, it is either completely spoken in favor of or completely spoken opposed to, and it is of the will of the board to not put it on the motion, on the warrant, so be it. But at this time, all we're doing is taking a
Up or down?
Up or
We're gonna-
down.
Yeah, okay. Tom, last one, cause then we're gonna just we'll take that as a motion.
I see this moving through the process very quickly. I also see it applied to a special town meeting. My request would be that it be applied to the annual town meeting to get more participation. This has been I think it's a little less than a month
Well,
from, excuse me, I'm speaking. A little less than a month from it being raised somehow, and I don't know how it got raised, but a little less than a month from the letters to going back and forth to the vote on November 19th.
The reason why it has been
It's
so
law.
quick is because the governor went and signed a preamble and forced our hand.
Put the law in effect immediately, so it is
This
law.
is the governor's fault.
You mean we can't wait until
No.
June?
No,
no,
Why not?
because
She already signed it.
Yeah,
So
but
now
why
it's
not?
in
Why
our
can't you
hand.
wait?
It is not that the board and the town could not wait. It is a proposed choice brought up in reaction to a law signed under preamble by Governor Healy. And the board and town could wait, but during that waiting period, the town would be under the prohibition of firearms in town-owned whatever it's described, that word. They would be prohibited. There are certain members of the community that feel that is inappropriate and would like to exercise their rights to remove said prohibition.
So as I sit here tonight, there could be people with guns,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the Second
and
Amendment.
that's what you want.
I
Listen,
don't have a want either way. This is not, I'm doing an administrative function.
This is the town's choice. This is the residents' choice. As the Second Amendment, it's you and I, all of our choices.
It's been that way for the last 120 years. And the
it
governor
shouldn't
just,
change.
by signing a preamble, the law is supposed to take effect in 2026. She backdoored the law, backdoored the legislatures, because they did not have a preamble on the law that they wrote. She backdoored them and wrote a preamble to make it law right away, because the state, Second Amendment people that like to hunt and everything else got 50,000 signatures together to make it go on the ballot in 2026. By her creating that preamble and putting it up, writing it into law right away, denied that right for it to go on the ballot. She took away the right of the Second Amendment to Massachusetts residents.
No one's had the right to.
Okay,
Denied, let me say denied.
okay, we're gonna have to limit this because we've got a ton of,
Connie really
May I
So-
just make one, may I
Yeah.
ask one question? Connie Strip Matter, 98 Old Westminster Road. I just wanna understand process, that if we wanted to offer like a friendly amendment to the statute to have libraries be exempt, similar to the schools being exempt, when would be the appropriate time to do that?
that would have to be a town meeting.
Either, there are plenty of appropriate times. A amendment could be proposed now. A amendment could be proposed next week before the in 2 weeks before the finalization of the warrant. A amendment could be proposed on the town meeting floor, where it would be the ultimate form of the amendment, because it would be given directly to your neighbors, your peers. So there are many opportunities to raise such amendments.
When would be the best time?
That is not something I can answer for you. It would
Right.
have to be something that you thought about. If that is something you're passionate about, maybe you raise it several times. But that is up to you and the entity in which you represent.
Okay.
So I guess, Mr. Chairman, in light of that, would you entertain a conversation about if there were any board members who were interested in pursuing the adjustment of this motion to exclude libraries?
You're making it as a motion?
No, I'm making that as, if you
Oh.
entertain that conversation.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night.
I'm okay,
It's gonna be a
I'm
long
okay
night.
waiting till a hearing, I just wanted to introduce that idea now, because we have a lot of children in the libraries, and school visits the library, so it's comparable to a school setting in some ways, so.
You have a lot of children at the playground too, up
Yep.
at the rec field,
Yep.
and you'd be surprised how many people carry up there.
Well, let me first,
And I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong or right, I'm just, you'd be surprised how many people carry in this area. Like, jeez.
let me first ask the board, just as a straw poll here before we get into a motion. Is it the feeling of the board in general to move this to be put on the warrant?
You want yes or no?
Yeah, straw poll, just.
Yes.
For the library?
No,
No,
the
just
article
topic.
one.
Just.
Oh, the topic that we
just the
originally
topic,
started with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Matt, I don't believe, now that I've seen who is online, that this is an appropriate conversation for this venue, as a quorum of the library trustees is in attendance. Just
Oh.
pointing that out. Ms. Gogan is online, meeting 3 of 5 trustees.
We have 6 trustees.
There are 6 trustees.
So we don't have quorum.
Thank you. There are 6 trustees.
So all 6 have to be present for a quorum?
Four.
Four.
And we've
So
got
there's
3.
2
I
here.
thought I said 5, but I forgot that we
Okay.
had the addition of.
We don't have quorum, there's 3.
No quorum.
No quorum.
Okay.
I
Okay.
retract
You're
my
good.
statement, I apologize.
Okay,
Okay.
so back to what we were doing. So the feeling is
Just put it on the,
to put it on the warrant,
Yes.
okay. That being the case, now Heather, if you want to throw
Well,
out
I think
for this-
Connie just raises a good
to
point.
add that too.
You know, I think what she's saying over there is asking the select board if we would consider, in light of, you know, concerns that folks from the library have, and I think it's concerns that a lot of people would have, just, I think it's a devil's topic, right? Like, there's gonna be
Yeah.
just as many people on this side saying absolutely no restrictions, and just as many people on this side saying, well, this should be a restriction. But do we wanna add that restriction in now? Do we wanna wait and see how public hearing goes? Do we wanna wait and have it be a motion from the floor?
Well-
And present this to town people and give Connie and others an opportunity to stand up and say, thank you for presenting this. We would like this modified in this way, and then letting the townspeople make the decision.
Yes, I think limiting the amount of participants in this decision-making process would be doing injustice to our constituents who have the right to opine and vote on this with any modifications to
So
the article.
you basically wanna leave it wide open.
I wanna leave it as is, and if there is concerns, there can be comments at town meeting where hopefully we have a much broader number of voting constituents in town to opine and express their opinion about the situation.
Okay, Peter?
just let me say this, as part of this change, it is already in there that we are able to make changes at any time. So, this is just for this one part of it. That, where you're headed to prevent anything from coming in there to protect anybody, if somebody walked in up the street with a knife and started stabbing people, I mean, that's how I feel. But you, if that's the way you feel, it can be done anytime, because this isn't all the wording right here. So it is in that red lettering that I read earlier, there is an option in there that we can adjust this at any time.
Yeah, no, you're correct. We have the right to make
Yes.
anything a prohibited area.
And I would
Town
follow.
retains authority
But
to
right now,
implement
we're just
further
gonna
policies
decide
on
if this is
firearms
going to be
possessions on town property, which
put
may
on the
be
warrant.
developed
We
in
can't,
conjunction with public safety officials.
And what's the process for making that change, Nate?
That is something we will have to discuss with legal counsel.
But it is in the
It is
writing.
in there.
It is in there.
Okay, last one, Tom.
In support of this gentleman's opinion that many should participate, I reiterate the request to move this to annual town meeting.
Mr. Chairman, please.
Which may also be an appropriate
Yes, please.
motion for the floor.
Yeah.
So I think the reason, you know, this came in light, as we said, you know, it was a very quick action by the governor, it was brought to our attention by our police chief. I think the biggest concern is, oh my gosh, this is going into play before the townspeople even have an opportunity to weigh on this. I think waiting to May is too late. I think doing it now in November gives the townspeople the opportunity to say, hey, is this right for us or not right for us? If you wait, it's already gonna be in effect almost, 8 months, 9 months by the time we get to May. And some people may say that's not fair in their minds, cause they wanna say, we're very vocal group in the town of Hubbardston, and we have strong beliefs on all sides. But in general, we try to give people an opportunity to opine on them. So this is something they didn't get a decision through a ballot question or through an act of legislature. This is just a decision that was made by the governor, and we're putting it back to the people. So at the end of the day, if the town's meeting says, no thanks, we like things the way they are, the governor did the right thing, we're very happy with it, fantastic. If they say no, hey, we need to make an amendment, then we do that. And that's my view. So, Mr. Chairman, would you accept a motion at this time?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we move the first proposal, the exemption of town-owned administrative buildings, firearm prohibited area designation language to the warrant.
Second.
Motion made, second.
Pending legal review and warrant finalization.
Yes.
Pending.
It's always pending.
Yes, when in doubt, just add that to the end.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Yes.
All Opposed? Motion carried. So we'll move to proposal 2.
I would also like to one more time present my apologies to the Library Board of Trustees. I was misinformed about the number of people on the trustees, and I'm sorry about that. I just,
Doesn't want anybody in trouble.
yeah, I don't want you guys to get an open meeting law violation.
Okay.
The town clerk's here, she would tell.
Proposal 2, amendment to the animal control officer definition in town bylaws. Would you like to just?
This was requested by Animal Control Officer Alana Meserve of the Gardner Regional Animal Control Cooperative. This is legal language that she requested for all communities. in which-
What is she having problems with, just out of curiosity? I see but I don't know what that is, the section.
Everything that she sent me is in your package.
She went to
Yeah.
a training, and they must have
Well,
adjusted
she said
some.
the Gardner ones, she said is the only one that she
Yeah, but
services
so,
that has this.
yeah, but she just went to the training,
Okay.
and they told her, they made some adjustments to the law, I guess.
Can someone summarize?
Yeah, that's
what we
what,
wanna
that's the
change
part that I
and
was.
why we wanna change it?
Good morning. Hope everyone had a chance to enjoy the blips of spring weather we've had. I'm reaching out regarding a legal updates course that the Animal Control recently attended. It's been brought to our attention that a definition of animal control officers in city/town bylaws needs to include language that expressly states authorization to enforce Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Sections 136A through 136F. I was unable to find this section in the written bylaw for all of our municipalities except Gardner. Here is an example from the Gardner City Code. Animal control, an appointed officer who blah 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 blah.
So in other
But
words,
that's
we
the
want to
question.
amend.
So what is chapter 140, sections 136A through 174F?
And how does that differ from the authority said person has today?
That was my question, 'cause it didn't.
So if you go in, if you search right now for animal control, you don't get a definition. If you go to chapter 22, regulation of dogs, you have definition of terms: dog, owner, keeper, restraining of dogs, public nuisance, kennel, license, period. There's no definition for a animal control officer. So if I'm understanding what you're asking me, you're asking us to submit for consideration at town meeting the amendment of chapter 22, regulation of dogs, section 1, by the addition of a new term.
Yes.
You got all that?
So that's all it is the definition
Yep.
of the actual animal control officer? It's not any
Just verbiage.
enforcement purposes,
Just
right?
verbiage,
Okay.
just the verbiage.
Okay.
Yep. So, can we have,
I'd like to make a motion
Motion
to
to-
include proposal to amendment to animal control officer definition and town bylaws to the warrant.
to put on the warrant, okay?
Second.
Second, motion made and second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Did you vote on that, KP?
Not yet.
opposed? Abstain,
Abstain.
okay.
Were you waiting for like a fourth option?
Motion carried. We go to proposal 3, police chief cruiser replacement, Nate, you wanna explain it and about the capital plan?
The police chief could not be here this evening because he is at the police chief's conference. But he is in support of this proposal, seeing as he submitted it. It is a proposal to see if the town will vote to appropriate $65,000 from capital stabilization to purchase and equip a new police cruiser for the police department, replacing the 2016 Chevy Impala currently used by the chief of police.
More hot tub time machine.
Ryan had noted that doing it at this time will save approximately 15% than if we were to do it as part of the capital plan in FY26.
Is it already on the capital plan?
It is.
And is it supported by capital?
I cannot speak for the capital improvement committee at this time as they have not met in a year.
What is the balance in capital stabilization?
I sent that to you guys.
You did, I saw it, I remember, it's in here. I don't remember the.
Which page of 400?
It's
It's in an email.
Oh.
It's in there.
email.
There's too many memos. Too many, I can't, I'm like you, I'm like, I remember reading it.
Can't say it wasn't transparent.
I understand, but at the same time, it's like all a blur. It's like, I read it sometime this weekend, I swear I did.
See, if you had a hard copy, you could highlight it, put a
No,
flag on it,
I
and
am
you know
not
exactly what it
highlighting,
was.
no, cause I don't like killing the trees.
So, any other questions in regards to this?
Capital stabilization.
Go.
133,221, or 1.2% of the operating budget. Yeah, but what we have to remember is there's a variable here, because as long as we get the $60,000 from the state, we will not, which is already approved in the FY25 budget, we will not need to utilize the entirety of the $65,000 that we have previously removed from capital stabilization for the boiler. So in the way that would go down, would approximately $45,000 would be going back into capital stabilization, bringing us to $178,221.32, or 1.6% of the operating budget. Let's all remember that 1% is our goal. And if, once removing the $65,000, if this were to be approved, it would leave us at $108,221.32, or 1% of our operating
I
budget.
need a damn flow chart. I need a flow chart.
I think JP has a question.
I've got a couple.
I also do.
What is the,
Seriously.
what is the proposed new vehicle going to be?
A 2024
Blazer.
Chevy Blazer. And it is in response to the opinion of several elected and appointed officials when he proposed a Chevy Tahoe, which was more to the tune of $85,000.
Yeah, we're all.
And that was seen as
Too much.
a larger than necessary request.
Go from a Malibu to a Tahoe.
The chief does not,
Damn it, tank.
seeing as the chief is what I'm going to refer to as a working foreman, it is important that he has a vehicle that can make it through the seasons of New England / Hubbardston.
That doesn't slide down driveways
That doesn't slide
backwards?
down driveways.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You won't be chasing anybody with a 4 cylinders.
Wow.
My proposal as written on here, and this was after it came in, is to repurpose the 2016 Chevy Impala as a
Hot tub time.
hot tub time machine. No, as a
Sorry.
as a training
getting
slash
late.
training, travel, and constituent services vehicle. Put slap some magnets on the side, allow elected and appointed and
Just put some of those on.
staff members to utilize it to go to trainings. At the end of the day, it would save us more time in gas reimbursements and employee car rates than the $4,000 we would receive in trade-in.
Oh, you probably wouldn't get that.
Yeah, and it has been brought to me under the opinion of the DPW director that he thinks this may be a glass issue, so if the back window happened to shatter.
Shut up, don't say that. TV? What's wrong with you?
Glass is covered by insurance.
Okay, do we want them to place this proposal
No, I've got
on
more
warrant?
questions.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
more questions.
What is so someone's gonna clean this vehicle for us for free.
Yes.
Mhm.
What is the cost to fix the problem? The root cause?
They've been
Cleaning
trying.
it doesn't solve the root cause problem, because it'll just get dirty again.
Neil thinks it's the window.
It's the
Yes,
back.
I think it's the window, and we do have a way of dealing with windows,
So,
but
do we have,
we would consider replacement of the
repair?
window by some
There you go.
means.
I think we're
I guess my question is, are we gonna fix the leak or not fix the leak?
We're gonna fix
Yes,
the
we're
leak.
gonna fix the leak.
but we're still buying a new vehicle.
Well, we're
Which is
just
fine.
proposing.
But, you know, I don't wanna be chasing a water leak that has to be cleaned by some citizen for free every rainstorm, you know?
It's not a citizen, it's a company out of Leominster.
Every company.
Well, worst comes to worst, if you pull all the material out and like Kelly said, drill a hole in it and it just lets the water out, you don't have to worry about it.
In the town accountant who's here's opinion, we should drill a hole in it.
Yes,
Like-
just make sure you take all the fabric out so it
So do
doesn't.
we know what the cost is to track down this leak and get it repaired is going to be?
We have an in-house mechanic.
So the cost will be zero.
Wow.
Well,
Supplies.
supplies
And time.
and Neil's time.
Okay,
At the rate that's on the other.
Get a motion, please, for this.
You going?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we place proposal 3 police cruiser replacement on the warrant.
Proposal
Second.
made and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, abstained? Pass. We have proposal 4. This is a priority for our town administrator, so I'll let him, if he wants to speak on it.
I can talk about proposal 4 for the rest of the.
4 and
No,
5, actually.
do not.
4
Do
and
not.
5.
Summarize.
Proposal 4 is a exact result, a precise result of our year-long study to find ways to enhance municipal operations through workflows, technology, and decrease turnover and training necessary to do the job. This came to us, spoiler alert, the things that are gonna be in the report when it's reported are legislative management, constituent resource, workflow, ticket tracking, and training, things like that. This is a one-stop opportunity over time that would allow us to solve almost all of those problems and open ourselves up for additional grant funding in the future. The reason I am proposing it right now is because our contract with OpenGov, a company that we have had a laundry list of issues tracking back since almost the day of implementation, is ending on December 1st. This opportunity presented itself at the same time as we were looking to spend the implementation funds from the Collins Center Community Compact Grant, utilize the $7,655. We would be able to utilize funding from the website, and they called in and to discuss the Drupal 10 upgrade that we're already doing. And when they were doing a Drupal 10 upgrade, began talking about all these things. Brianna from the Collins Center and I noted at that point that it was going to provide a response to almost everything in the test, in the study. At that point, I looked at the gentleman and said, funny that 1 isn't a 3, because if that was a 35% discount, maybe we'd be talking. He turned around and proposed a 35% discount. So we are looking at a year 1 implementation cost of $13,000, which I will be seeking a reimbursement from in the tech grant, which opens up in January. But the opportunity to get this at this decreased rate will not be here at that time.
Okay.
This is something that we would implement with staff and board input over some time. This would not be a turn it on next month fix. The way I was talking to the representative from Civic Plus and the representative from the Collins Center, this would likely take 6 months to get a rollout of our first version in terms of training and bringing it live, with the exception of whatever we do need to immediately do, like building permits, because those are run through OpenGov and we would not be utilizing them anymore.
Yes.
All right, Nate, I'm confused on the chart. So, under financial impact, Civic Optimize implementation, so Civic Optimize is the software as a service you wanna go with?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's the website and Civic Optimize all together. And Civic Optimize.
So that's through Civic Plus?
Yeah. So Civic Optimize is an API-based optimization program that allows the end user to create their own work-based workflow-based form. So I'm going to be able to, with the help of Civic Plus and Brianna, recreate See-Click-Fix, recreate legislative management tools for the legislative portion, recreate the board and committee tool so that we will not need LL data or the dog license software. This is taking redundant software, combining it under one umbrella, and then allowing us to look at data flows as soon as we make them to point to bottlenecks for where they are and what's slowing us down, and utilize this towards a budgetary goal setting standard to see what our investments are returning money on, what our investments are returning service on. In the first 10 years, I'm looking at this as something that would have an ROI of 1,000 times its investment, 1,000 times plus, just in retention, in training, in service capability for the residents of the town, for the ability that it is going to increase transparency, that there will be a Domino's pizza tracker on all of your
Forms and applications.
So what communities now currently use Civic Optimize?
Stormwater, Iowa.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Is that it?
What communities in
there's
the
three
state
others.
of
There's
Massachusetts
three others.
currently use
We would-
Civic Optimize?
We would be revolutionary in utilizing it in this fashion. But the reason that I believe we are well suited to do this is because of the remaining 50 hours of Collins Center time that we have for implementation, and then over 100 hours of staff training as part of the 5-year developmental plan.
I do have a question. Is there going to be a hiccup for
Yes.
like building department permits,
There should
like
not- there
things
should
like
not
that,
be.
like things that need to kind of flow?
Well, how are we gonna
We
get
already
there?
have a massive hiccup
Yeah,
happening
there's
right
it's
now.
a puke.
So
It's
open
current-
governance
current-
town.
I can speak to that because I'm personally like,
Trying to figure it out. Well, that's what I'm
so
saying.
what happened is we have to, so our OpenGov software does
Yeah.
not talk to our assessing software, GIS.
And this would. we
So
already-
this would
Yes.
talk to it. So right now, what I have to do is I have to physically get the data from RRG. I can't even pull it myself. I have to wait for RRG to give it to me. Then what I have to do is I have to manually upload it into OpenGov through a series of many steps. So many steps that I had to call the IT department at CM Geeks and say, hey, I need to now have me pay you to help me upload this data correctly because OpenGov keeps telling me I'm not doing it right. Followed the steps OpenGov gave me. They're like, you're all set. Okay, cool. Called OpenGov because the address is, and that's the problem we're having in Hubbardson. Hubbardson is doubling in size quite quickly. We're not being able to upload the new addresses for these building permits. So we have building permits in the system that aren't attached to anything because the property doesn't exist.
Yes, 'cause it's not.
So I called OpenGov and said, hey, this isn't working, what is going on? Oh, well, try this. No, I already tried that. I had my IT department do it for me. What's going on? Oh, well, and I uploaded it again, and this has been 3 months, and they still haven't fixed it on their
3
end.
months, it's been a year.
It's been a year.
So how realistically then, how long would this, if we swapped over, would it really take to fix? No, I'm not saying what we have right now is.
What we have right now, they're saying we could turn over in 2 weeks' time. I would not want to implement this as a whole until staff was trained, kiosks were set up, and we had actually ironed out everything that we were implementing as part of phase 1. This is going to be something that can grow over time, and it's going to be something that I'm going to have to cap my own ambition on, because I can't just
Throttle
be
down, boy,
creating
throttle.
forms.
Yeah.
But this will allow us to set workflows where things seamlessly go from, like right now, there is a giant bottleneck between the appointments the select board makes and moving them forward and letting the people know. If we set this up, they could apply, then Tricia hits a button that says select board approved, ding, the applicant is told, ding, Mel is told, Mel hits a button, ding, it sends the conflict of interest paperwork to the applicant, ding, the paperwork is filled out, it goes back to Melody, and we go from there.
The
big
other
circle
big
of fun.
bottlenecking that's happening, especially in the planning side, is when we get an application, all these applications, we ask for 8 copies. They need to go to 8 different boards. They don't go to the 8 different boards right now because that system is so broken with all of the turnover. Because Mallory, who used to, way back when, she was those 8 boards. So when she got the application, she didn't need it to go to the 8 boards. So right now with the new system, it automatically, the application is sent, we hit a button, it goes to the 8 boards.
And
And
we'll
that
also
due
be able
diligence
to
is
tell
done.
who's lagging. Like, if it's sent to 8 boards and Conservation Commission takes 1 day and Building Commission takes 2.5 weeks, where's our holdup? Like,
You can track it.
yeah.
So let's talk about the software in the company.
Okay, hold it, just a minute, how much time do we need on this? 'Cause right now, we're just trying to decide whether we wanna put this on the warrant, rather than take this whole thing apart, we still have a ton ahead of
We
us.
only need a couple minutes.
To
Okay,
that,
alright, okay, go
Chris, I
ahead.
would like to state that our relationship and the general understanding is that Civic Plus does provide excellent support and training. In my 10+ years of municipal work, I have been able to rely on them as a website provider time and time and time again. I hope Heather can speak to that as well. I don't know what her relationship has been with the company, but mine is it has been very positive. OpenGov got really big really fast and has forgot simply
Basics.
about the small communities.
Go ahead, Chris.
That doesn't count for my 2 minutes.
It does not.
Does this website coexist with the town website
It is
we have today?
It is
It
the
is the
town
town
website.
website.
It'll
So what we're all used to and using today goes away, and this becomes the new.
No, it'll be an upgrade. So that's it. What this is this is 2 tiers. It's us upgrading our website and not doing the Drupal 10 thing. That's why they offered us a discount in the beginning. And then it's utilizing a second software in partnership with the town website called Civic Optimize. And that is a API that automates processes through the website's partnership with other programs.
So this will replace the website as we know it today.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Heather, you had your hand.
What is the, I'm assuming we're gonna have to get into a contract with this company.
Yep.
How long is the contract?
3 years.
And does that provide, technical support
It provides an unparalleled level of technical
for
support.
the entire 3 years?
For the entire 3 years.
At no additional cost out of pocket?
At no, it'll be the 5% up, it goes up 5% every year.
5% on top of 35, 33,000?
No, 5% on top of the 20, because the year over year is 20,000. The 30-something is the negotiated implementation cost and year 1.
So it's going up $1,000 a year? Is that what 5% is? I'm not good at math.
Yeah, so for between year 2 would be a net increase impact of $2,987. Years 3 would be $3,439 with a difference of about $500.
And the support is for those 3 years?
Yeah, and we get 5 years of implementation support every year, and the
And is
ROI
there-
here is going to be ridiculous when
And you seem kinda jazzed about the data retention that this platform offers. Is there a fee?
Nope,
To
everything.
go out and gather that data
everything is
that could
included.
guide decisions here for the town?
Everything is included. And the ability to create our own applications off of this software is included. The support for both the website and the optimization program is included. The training on their end at the very beginning, and I believe it's 5 or 10 years, it's all broken down in the 38-page proposal, is included.
Ours only goes
And will
to
the,
35.
and will the
Mine goes to 38.
public have general access to this, or will they need
So,
to
this
apply
will-
for access to this?
This will, it depends what you're looking to do.
Right.
For a building application, you will likely have to apply for access and to utilize. If we were to use it for something, say, as a boot drive form, you would not need to fill out a.
So in your first example, would our constituents have to pay a fee?
No.
To get access to do anything specific
No, sir.
that may need special access?
The constituents will only have to pay a fee for the thing they're already paying a fee to do, which is pay their taxes, both personal property and excise via credit card through our Unipay system that we have already verified will work with this software. This will easily work with our VADAR system, which is our budgeting, our vision system, which is our assessing, and our, what did I just say? The third system.
Vadar Vision Payroll?
And Unipay, which
Unipay.
will,
And there's no fee to constituents to get to that next level of access then?
no, sir.
Very good.
They just have to set up an
Okay,
account.
Heather?
Nate, does it interact similar to how OpenGov does now for payments?
Yes.
So it's gonna be similar to
Mary
match
says
whatever we use for our
that
taxes?
Mary and I and Brianna are meeting with these people on Wednesday to explore payment portal side. The OpenGov platform actually is a giant pain because it doesn't work with our software at all. So Mary has to go into several different spots. If we were to utilize only the Civic Pay option that comes with the suite of tools, it would be more cohesive and easier from a reporting standard than what we do right now.
And my last question is, let's say we do this for 3 years, we determine we actually paid it in 3 years. How do we get our data?
We pull it. It's our data. As with OpenGov, as with Vision, as with, this, I forgot to tell you, this will dump into
And there's more.
Laserfish. So there will be no more scanning into Laserfish.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we place article, or proposal for allocation from free cash to civic, for civic optimized implementation on the warrant.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Polls of 5. Nate, if you would please, because this is also one piece.
I'm also jazzed about this, but I feel like it's a little bit easier to explain. Right now, there is a giant risk associated with our process with how we handle zoning and general bylaws. They are touched by every town clerk, every town administrator, every planning board chair, and not checked at any level. What this program would do is it would offer us a legal review and the e-codification of our zoning and general bylaws and governance. My joke that I've been making all day is that I'm under the belief that under our current way, I could write "I love pepperoni pizza" in the middle of a paragraph towards the bottom of the zoning bylaws, and it would not be caught by town meeting, the Attorney General's office, or anyone as.
That's not true, because I would.
You would have caught that?
I would have I read it through everything, but I just wanna say that it's only the zoning bylaws for 11,500, it's not general bylaws.
General's in there too, I can guarantee it.
It seems like 11.5 is a short number for both.
I think it's 2,000 more,
We pull
or
it.
also general bylaws.
Okay, well, I would just say, I think, it's a great idea to go to general code, even small towns like Barry have general
Barry has
code,
it,
it
yeah.
makes life a lot easier. I can give you examples of nightmares, which I'm not going to do, but essentially, everything Nate says is entirely true, multiple people, and a lot of times you'd be surprised, you would be surprised the number of times someone forgot to actually file the bylaw with the AG's office. So I'm totally in support of this. I think it's a great idea. It makes it a lot easier for our residents to use it as well. If we want to hold people accountable for following expectations and bylaws of the town, it's a lot easier if we actually give them a place they can find them.
Especially with it being searchable, I don't know how many people are like, well, I'm not gonna read through all the bylaws, can you just tell me what it says? And it's like, this will make it searchable so they can type in like accessory dwelling unit bylaw, or whatever.
what's
Mr.
the dollar amount?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we place the article proposal 5 allocation for e-codification services on the warrant, if pending Nate's assurance that the number is correct, if not modification to include both sets of bylaws.
Motion made.
Second.
Second, further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed, abstained, motion passed. Proposal 6, is recommended not to be put on the warrant.
No, I have spoken with Nancy and Kelly and I, who has been here for 3 hours, and now is her time to shine.
Oh, I didn't even know she was on.
Yeah.
Top right corner.
So Kelly,
I don't have
this
that.
is your moment.
Okay.
So what,
So,
one second, Kelly, this isn't your moment quite yet. Like,
He was kidding.
what we
Sorry.
need to know is that the paper you have in front of you is an amended proposal after Kelly and I spoke with Nancy. Chair Hansgate was unable to make it today due to a health reason, but over the last year, we have been discussing all of this, and we believe that the proposal that you have in front of you is fair in both what we have determined and sets us up in a even playing field to move forward. Kelly will now discuss what the previous proposal was before we struck the top part and the bottom part and moved forward only the middle. Sorry,
Okay.
Kelly, now.
Okay, so, do you want me to go over the septic revolving? Cause I don't have the updated,
The
plan.
Just in brief, because
Okay,
they all received emails about this over the last year, but
okay,
give
Okay,
them just
alright.
a quick review of what we've done and what got us here today.
okay, so the septic revolving. Back, I guess it would be 3 years ago now, when we had a previous admin in that office, one of the inspectors was overpaid. At the time, I was told to pay it out of the Board of Health revolving. After Kathy came in and she examined the files, she said that it should not have been paid out of the Board of Health. It should have been paid out of the septic. We talked with the DOR. We now, we've corrected all of that. And as soon as we set the tax rate this year, we will raise that amount of money of that deficit and it will be taken care of. So that's the septic revolving issue. The next issue is the Board of Health revolving. She is requesting expenses to be reimbursed to the Board of Health revolving. The entire purpose of a department revolving is that they're able to cover the costs of their expenses with their incoming revenue. It is apparent that is not happening. So what she's requesting basically is to take money from the general fund to pay for their expenses. I believe, and again, this is my personal opinion on this, is that potentially at the end of fiscal 25, that the Board of Health revolving fund would be closed and that they would become basically like every other department in the town. There would be a Board of Health department. They would request their what they need for budgeting. All of the money then would just come back into the general fund, and that would alleviate these types of issues where they don't have enough money to pay for their expenses. There was, I believe, 2 bills or 2 items that were discussed, and Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but we agreed to put one on the warrant to be paid for from the general fund, and the other one they were going to have to pay for. Is that correct?
Yes, the agreement at the end of the conversation in April was that if the Board of Health revolving would move and pay the old bill from earlier last year, I would propose to the select board and town meeting that we pay the next one. The bigger pain point that I feel you did kind of miss, not on purpose, is that it is kind of ridiculous that we have to pay $10,000 in testing fees for a landfill that was capped 40 years ago. We have requested now several times the DEP either relief or for them to take it over. We have written letters to our legislators. On that side, the Board of Health has been a wonderful partner for that. But it's always a no. And the $10,000 just has to be paid, and it's unfair across the board. The town shouldn't have to pay it, the Board of Health shouldn't have to pay it. It's a unnecessary fee for something that has been capped since before I was born.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So has the DEP put a life on that system?
Forever.
It's a never-ending fund that goes to
As
the
far as I
DEP?
know, when I asked, they said it was indefinite.
That's a scam.
Do you want me to set up a meeting with our local circuit rider and see if she can provide more guidance?
God, really? I mean, at some point, landfills stop doing what they do, right? Everything's decayed. And how many years does it take? They must know this. I mean, hundreds of years? Well, yeah, I mean, back in landfills from 40 years ago, they threw everything in there. I agreed. There was less plastic 40 years ago than there is now, though. But plastic doesn't, I don't think plastic breaks down.
In the Board of Health's desire to keep their revolving fund stems from a need, and a justified need, to want to have some funding in the event of an emergency. What I did talk to Nancy about today is that the general bylaws do allow the chair of the select board to make financial movement in an emergency, so we wouldn't be not purchasing the emergency needs of a great issue, but
What, did they explain emergency?
if they need to buy vaccinations, if
Oh, okay,
something.
so like
health
health
stuff.
immunizations
Yeah.
and health clinics and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And it's justifiable that the
Yeah.
Board of Health would want to have that sort of
Of course,
slush fund.
yeah.
In the interest of time, is it still recommended that we not put it on?
I recommend that we put singularly the $5,290 on the warrant as part of a structured deal with the Board of Health. I also recommend that Kelly and I speak with Chair Hansgate and the Board of Health further on what is working and what is not working. This was a structured deal from 2018, 2019 between a former Board of Health chair and a former town administrator that restructured the amount of monies that went to the general fund versus the revolving fund for the Board of Health and septic. It has been confusing ever since. I do think we can solve this, whether that be a second just really harsh conversation and written document saying, hey, here's the deal. This is what the town proper is gonna pay for. This is what the Board of Health revolving fund's gonna pay for. There's no more considerations. We're done. But I do recommend the $5,290.
We can't mow our own. Reimbursement for landfill mowing, we can't mow our own.
I dealt with that. I'm just gonna pay it out of my
Okay.
TA account.
Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend that we add proposal 6 reimbursement and funding allocation for Board of Health accounts as described and recommended by Nate onto the warrant.
That amounted?
I had it already.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
over.
Oh, it's there,
Yeah.
okay.
Second.
Motion made and second, discussion?
Yeah,
Um,
I've got
okay.
discussion.
Okay.
So what we're approving is the hard copy in my hand for $52.90 to
Yes,
go on
sir.
the warrant?
Yes.
Curiosity, where is the landfill?
It's on, New Templeton.
On the left, there's a fence
Where
up.
the-
Yeah, right before the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that big mound that has like the little breather things poking out of it. That's all grassy.
I've never noticed.
It's
Yeah.
next to a considerable
mound or a knoll?
lot of.
It's a big
Of
grassy
state.
knoll.
It's like a capped landfill.
Yeah, it is.
It's next to a big state lot too, like of conservation land.
And
so
also
it's
the waterway,
fairly easy
that's-
to miss.
Okay.
And I-
Yeah,
That you're afraid to drive.
Where the bus crashed,
Yeah,
there.
there.
right up the street from
Now,
there.
what's the proximity to the water?
close.
Pretty close.
Right on it.
That's why, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so any other discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Proposal 7.
Prior year bills, I believe there's 4 of them.
I believe there's
They'll
4 or
outline that
5,
for
I'm
next
still
week.
collecting them.
We're still collecting. I called Verizon today because we're getting our new phone system and I wanted to make sure all our bills are all set. There is one bill that will have to be added. It is an old circuit radio, that we've been paying for 15 years. And it wasn't until I uncovered it, and they just haven't been paying it for the last year and a half, even though the bills have been coming in, so I need to settle up with them about
How much
that.
are we talking for that?
Oh, just, I think the total at right now is 135.
Oh, small.
It's small pennies, but you know what, those,
Are we
every
still
little
renting
bit.
phones?
All of the
Like
small
old
pennies
rotary
add up.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we are proposal 7, warrant article,
Okay.
authorization of payment of prior year bills to the warrant.
Second.
Motion made second. Any further discussion?
Oh, God.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion
My
carried.
grandparents did their phone.
Proposal 8.
Kelly, you're good if you can hang out by all
Okay.
means.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm out.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Bye,
Good
Kelly.
night.
Kelly.
Thank you
Okay.
for hanging in there.
Okay,
Aye.
proposal 8, that just to point out, this has simply to do with giving the DPW money that's already theirs, okay? So, transfer of unexpended funds from DPW garage roof, so that's what that basically is all about.
So can I just ask questions? So that account, the 300 account, is that a special town meeting or a town meeting article?
Special town meeting article.
So you could just repurpose the article.
In accordance with the Massachusetts general law that is outlined there, we can.
Usually I just do to see if the town will vote to repurpose Article X from town meeting Y amount as follows.
And that may be the case. This has not been reviewed by legal.
I'm
This-
just trying to save you money on legal.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna spend it all.
So, all we're doing here is taking the 6,300
That was
and
left over.
allowing them to allocate it to different DPW needs.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And the roof project is done. I've given a reference to the company since, they have been paid for over a year, we're good.
Good.
Okay, so, we have anything else on that? We have a
9 and 10, I
motion?
know what they are.
Yeah, sure, I'll make a motion to put proposal 8, transfer of unexpected funds from DPW garage roof repair to move forward to the town meeting.
To place it, the proposal on the
Yeah.
warrant.
On the warrant, sorry.
Motion made
Second.
and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. 9, we've already taken care of, so, let's move to the, review of the special town meeting.
Just to be clear, 9 and 10.
9 and
Oh,
10.
9 and 10, oh, yeah, okay, all right.
It's a lot of work, it's a lot of articles for something that would
For,
have
yeah,
zero
like,
articles.
seriously, it's supposed to be just the.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
just glad it's not on November 5th.
No, we weren't doing
I
that too.
jokingly told her we were gonna do it to
No.
her.
So do we need to go through these?
No. It's the same schedule as it always is,
Okay.
based upon the rules both of the state and of our bylaws.
Looking forward to getting my full page flyer in the mail that everyone always says they don't get.
Okay, okay, we can stop for a minute. As, chair of the, select board, I'd like to ask a question of Nate. If there's been a long day for everybody who's here, we got tired people and so on, et cetera. Is anything that's left on us, including the executive session, something we have to do tonight? Because I'd like to stop the meeting and push everything.
I'm hesitant to say that the executive session does not need to happen, but it is up to you.
I would like to postpone everything to push it to the next meeting and, let's just move right down to, motion to adjourn. Because we have tired people, et cetera, and, that executive session might be longer than we want.
I anticipate
So
it
that's
being
a-
longer than we want.
So if I'm not breaking anything legally, as chair, I would like to, and move to ending the meeting.
At this point, I can't imagine that another 2 weeks is going to push the companies or CCC further than they have been pushed in the past 6 months, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Unless there's an objection on the board, okay, but as the chairman, I'm allowed to do that, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we move all the remaining items on to the next select board meeting and
Including the executive session.
including the executive session, and make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Can I ask a
Second.
question first?
Yes.
Is there a way we can add maybe an hour to the front of the next meeting? Because it's going to be that public hearing, and the public hearing will likely
starting at
be
5:30 in other
long
words?
in itself. We're starting at whatever time works for the majority of the board.
Yeah.
But I do feel that adding to the front end may be beneficial in terms of not being here until
Right.
9:10.
I could do a 5:30 or 5 o'clock start.
I can get here whenever, so.
I'll be here at
Peter?
3.
Can you make it, Chris, could you make it at 5:30?
On the 4th.
On the 4th of November.
If I take the Ferrari, I should be able to make it.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, that's fine. Why don't we plan on doing that?
So 5:30?
Yeah.
It'll likely have to be at the senior center, but I'll work with Claudia to make sure that it's not booked then.
Can we do executive senate session in the beginning?
We could.
Why don't we do that? Bang that out, get it, it's old business, so it should be done first, right?
Whatever,
I
whatever
mean-
you would like, yeah.
We'll work the agenda so that we find some.
I would say, because I mean,
time-saving
that's like
measures.
a hornet's nest hanging over
Yeah,
our head.
let's plan on,
Right.
we'll plan on that, so, I have a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to respectfully ask that we talk about matters not reasonably anticipated by
Well-
the chair very quickly.
Tell me what it is, cause I can say no.
Well, that's why I'm respectfully asking. Some of
Well,
these,
I don't wanna discuss it, what is it right now that you wanna bring up?
well, I was about to say that. Some of these documents you're sending out, these articles, for some reason, Heather and I, for example, if it's a 6-page article, our computer tells us we can't preview the entirety of the file. It only gives us 4 of 6 pages, or 3 of 7 pages, or,
Rest is a
6 of
surprise.
9 pages.
Can you tell me one of the articles so I can try and see if
Well,
it-
this one right here, the Board of Health, Article 6, stops for me on page 4.
Board of Health?
So I'm not
Yeah.
sure why
I'm
that
on it
is
right now,
happening.
mine goes all the way down.
I gotta find it first.
If you guys don't mind, I'm coming around.
Which one
Are you
is
guys
Board of
on the
Health? I
Wi-Fi?
can't find Board of
Yeah,
Health.
you must be.
Yeah, they have to be.
What number was it?
Yeah, I know.
So that's,
For example,
all of the pages are in there.
Article 6.
Yeah.
If I scroll down,
These aren't numbered either,
I
so.
get to page 4 or 6, and I can't preview the file.
10, Board of Health.
Okay, incidentally, we still have to sign the warrant though,
Yeah.
before we go tonight, so.
Wage.
I'd like
You
to
wanna start
thank
signing?
Yes,
Mel,
let's,
like to
how many
thank Mel
copies
for
are-
coming and staying here for 3 hours
Very
after
interesting.
working all day and working unpaid on Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to get everybody out of here.
It's fine, I'm surprisingly not tired.
Let's do.
There are
I was
7
never
of them.
alluding to you not reading the warrant.
Tiffany, are you okay with that offline?
No, I know, but
Fixing that
I was
offline?
just saying, that I would've thought.
Okay.
I'll fix it offline.
Mr. Chairman, can we call the vote
I didn't think we were
For
alluding
what?
to that.
for the motion to continue everything and to adjourn?
I second it.
Motion made, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Other than signing the warrant, meeting adjourned, okay?
Thank you,
Please
sir.
sign all 7.
Yep.
Please. 2 town offices.
All right, KP, hand me